people like you. If you stand up for those down on
I got a whole panel with me this evening.
and lend a
People from the south, from the north, from the east in particular.
if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way.
And I have a lovely lady with me in the studios as well.
For people like you. I've heard up there the streets.
So wherever you are, call a friend and tell them we're on tonight as we honor yet another hero in this Commonwealth of Dominica.
To hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you wanna see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you.
Yes, so as I said to you, we are doing this evening on a very lovely Monday evening, the 30th day of August 2021, the day after we commemorated the 42nd anniversary of Hurricane David here in Dominica. So it's on the 29th of August 1979. But we're here for very pleasant things and very lovely things this evening. And like I said, we're honoring a gentleman who's cut through the cut and thrust of Dominica in so many ways. In education, in culture. The history of this country is colorful because of him.
For people like you.
So tonight we have the committee of the Kudos for Heroes, and the chairperson is here with us along with all the other committee members. I notice we have, like I said, a full panel with us this evening. And so let me introduce Mr. G himself, Mr. Sheridan Gregoire. A very good evening to you, my friend.
Good evening, Pastor Rodney. And before I really get going, I just want to make sure that I say good evening to every single person who's here tonight and many other persons who I know who will be logging in tonight. Because as you know, Alwyn is a very, very popular man. I mean, not only in Dominica. We thought we owned Alwyn in Dominica. When I listen to all the people who are calling in and making their presence felt, I mean, we can see Alwyn is truly a Caribbean man. He's really owned by the Caribbean. We're happy that we have a piece of Alwyn in Dominica, and we want to really appreciate him tonight. Let me just acknowledge that we have some fine people here tonight. I've turned off all of the mics because when the mics are on, it gives us some feedback in the audio and it goes through the radio. So when you're ready to talk, then you just turn on your mic. I just want to acknowledge that we have with us, we have Janice Williams Russell is here. We also have former Ambassador Crispin Gregoire and Dr. Emmanuel Finn. We also have, well, of course, I mean, we have Alwyn. And then, of course, we have Sandra Gift. We also have Willis Winthrop and Karen and Zara, Sheila Graham. We have Sashadi, and we have Ingrid and David Nellans, Paula Shaw, Merle Niles, Ackley Walcott, Bridget Lewis, Lilia Toppin Lord. It's a whole lot of people that we have, and I know some people are trying to log in now, and our technician is trying to assist where he can to bring everybody in. Well, we have a full house tonight. So gentlemen and ladies, very, very good. Welcome to you. Good evening. And we're all here for one purpose, really. So I just want to start off by saying good evening, Pastor Rodney, and good evening and welcome to our esteemed Dr. Alwyn Bully, and to his distinguished wife, Anita, who is also in studio, and to you, Big Brother Colin Bully. A special good evening to you all and to all our Global Q family listeners. Tonight, it's a national Caribbean, and in fact, a global event, because I've seen colleagues in Dominica, Guyana, Trinidad, Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Antigua, St. Kitts, Guadeloupe, Martinique, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands. There's so many names, Jamaica. So many people are listening, and they've already indicated to me that they're on, all the way up in West Africa, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Australia, Switzerland, Sweden. It's all over. Of course, Guadeloupe, Martinique, right next door here to us, and the UK and Canada, United States, and some parts of Latin America here. Lots of people have indicated to me on WhatsApp that they're there and tuned into the radio and listening live. So they're now tuning to Q95 and listening to a live stream or watching on Facebook. We are live on Facebook at Q95 FM Radio and WICE QFM. So in fact, those of you who want to view what's happening in the studio tonight, if you go to our Facebook page, Q95 FM Radio or WICE QFM, you'll see everyone who's in here with us tonight in this WebEx room, WebEx conference, all here for Alwyn Bully. So we all anticipate a big evening at Q95, and we're honoring a huge man of great stature on the big station. So I'm proud, and indeed, Pastor Rodney, I feel profoundly honored and privileged to say a very, very special good evening to Alwyn and to distinguished members of our Q95 Heroes Committee. Ms. Janice Williams Russell in Toronto, Ms. Connie Francis in San Francisco, Dr. Emmanuel Finn, who's in Washington, D.C., former UN Ambassador Crispin Gregoire in New York, Leroy Waddick Starsit in Dominica, and yourself, of course, Pastor Rodney in Dominica. So, fellow Dominicans and our cherished, highly favored extended Q family listeners at home and abroad, as chairman of the Q95 Kudos to Heroes Committee, and on behalf of our entire committee, I am absolutely delighted and feel deeply honored indeed to present Dr. Alwyn Bully tonight to Dominica, to the region, and to the world as our 7th Kudos National Dominican Hero. Dr. Alwyn Bully was born on 23rd November 1948 in Roseau, Dominica. He is a professional playwright and cultural administrator. He was born of parents Charles Bully and Edna Bully, née Porter. His siblings include Colin, Barbara, and his half-sister Idris Bully. His wife from 1977 to present is the highly distinguished and accomplished Anita Bully, née Stefan, and his children are Brent, Sade, and Perron. He attended the Dominica Grammar School and the St. Mary's Academy in Roseau, Dominica from 1961 to 1967. University of the West Indies Caville campus in Barbados from 1967 to 1971. Dr. Bully served as cultural administrator in Paris, France in 1983. He holds several degrees, including Doctor of Letters from the University of the West Indies in 2011. Bachelor of Arts in English and French, also from the University of the West Indies, Caville in 1971. Dr. Bully's career spans, he's actor, he's a costume designer, builder, stage and lighting designer, painter, art teacher, graphic artist, illustrator, composer, writer, director, and filmmaker, the whole works. He served as a graduate teacher at the Dominica Grammar School and the Dominica Sixth Form College from 1971 to 1977. He was head of the English department of the grammar school from 1974 to 1976, the deputy principal of the grammar school from 1976 to 1977, acting principal of Grammar School 97 to 98, chief cultural officer from 1978 to 82, acting manager Dominica Broadcasting Corporation, known as DBS Radio, in Dominica from 1982 to 83, chief cultural officer, Ministry of Community Development in Dominica from 1983 to 1988. Dr. Bully also served as an art critic for the New Chronicle in Dominica. He also served with distinction as UNESCO Advisor for Culture in Jamaica from 1987 to 2006, and as advisor to the Minister of Culture in Dominica from 2008 to 2010. So you can see already how much Dr. Bully was involved in. He was also involved in several organizations in Dominica and further afield in several ways as a dancer, choreographer, founding dancer, choreographer of the Dominica Dance Company 1964, Barbados National Dance Theatre Company 1970, advisor to the board of the Caribbean Writer Literacy Magazine in St. Croix, USVI from 1986 until now, the Rotary Club of Dominica 86 to 88, the Roseau City Council Improvement Committee 86 to 88, the University Technical Advisory Committee on the Arts, University Technical Advisory Committee on the Arts 2003 to 2008. Is also the Errol Barrow Center for the Creative Imagination 2008 to present, National Cultural Council 2009, now Dominica Festivals Committee 2009 to 2020, Rex Nettleford Foundation Jamaica 2010 to present. Dr. Bully also served as Artistic Director, Little Theatre Group in Dominica in 1971, People's Action Theatre 1972, 1987 in Dominica, the company limited from 1992 to 1998, Ada Long and Friends 1996 to 2008, Caribbean Theatre Network 1998 to present, Casquiol Productions 2008 to present. So you can see, I'm pretty sure there's so much more that Anita knows that I don't know and I have not said. So when her turn comes to speak, I think she will give you all of the rest about Alwyn. So it is clear that in addition to Dr. Alwyn Bully's valuable transformational lifelong work and accomplishments, he always finds a way to bring out the best in others, to work hard, to be true to their profession, to reach out to excellence and be dedicated to being the very best that they can be in whatever they do. So tonight we say kudos indeed to Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully and his family. He's a true Dominican and Caribbean hero. Why? For instilling a positive mental attitude that elevates the content of the social and cultural dialogue on matters of professional playwriting and cultural administration, among many other things, and for some 45 years or thereabouts. I invite you all cherished Q95 listeners at home, in the Caribbean region, and globally. Please join us tonight in appreciating, embracing, celebrating, recognizing, awarding, and extending kudos to our seventh Dominican hero, Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully. And I want to rest assured that Dr. Bully remains highly respected and cherished by all of us in Dominica, our nature island gem of the Caribbean, for its exemplary performance in transcending self-interest, for going well over and beyond the call of duty, and above and beyond normal demands and expectations, for commanding respect in society, for being one of the true pioneers in his work and occupation, for his innovation, his achievements, and tenacity in the face of all the challenges that he has undoubtedly encountered and endured in his lifetime, for his impactful leadership par excellence, for his community involvement, collaboration, and partnerships, for his dedicated commitment to the arts and to social and cultural development, and for his national humanitarian outreach. For these and for many, many more reasons, which time does not permit us to go through all of those tonight, they're just too numerous to mention here. So Q95, kudos to our Heroes Committee, Tonight we recognize, we appreciate, we embrace, we award Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully as a champion, and we bestow upon him a very, very well-deserved and earned esteemed title of a true Dominican hero. I just want to say on behalf of our entire committee, kudos to our seventh Dominican hero, Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully, your wife, Anita, and your children who have stood steadfastly beside you through thick and thin. And it will always be distinguished honor and delight, all of us Dominicans at home and abroad, and in the Q family, to say it to everyone, everywhere. We know, we love, and we respect Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully. So I just want to say, God bless you, Dr. Bully, your great wife, Anita, your wonderful children, your great brother, Colin, and all the rest of your family. And may God bless also, bless all of the other true Dominican heroes whose works positively impact the lives of Dominicans everywhere, every day. So on behalf of our committee, on behalf of every Dominican at home or abroad, I say thank you, Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully. Godspeed. We look forward to having you to inspire us for many, many more years. So thank you for your very rich and inspiring legacy, and may the good Lord continue to bless you richly. Thank you, Pastor Rodney, for the opportunity.
Mr. G, you know, I sat here listening to this colorful list, and I want to say very openly, very honestly, as you know, I try to be that all the time, that Alwyn has impacted not just Dominic. I think you said it right, that we probably thought we owned Alwyn.
Right.
But Alwyn seemed to be, or seemed to have a heart everywhere, or a share everywhere, or a part of him, if you like, has been shared with so many other communities, and not just in this Caribbean, but around the world. I mean, to have to sit here and honor Alwyn in 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and to just review his life. We won't have enough people to do that this evening, or I'm sure many more people would like to be doing that, knowing that he has impacted so many people. I mean, from the time I began to know myself, I heard about Alwyn Bully. And then I went to the Dominica Grammar School during the years that he was a teacher and head of department and became principal. And I'm still hearing Alwyn Bully, not just in his voice, but in his works. And you hear the many people who have been tutelaged by him, who have been tutored by him in the arts and culture. They don't say much without mentioning Alwyn Bully. And to know his work in the Caribbean, the region around the world is phenomenal. I guess the committee had no choice, Mr. G, but to ensure that Alwyn Bully is very well recognized as one of the heroes, right?
Yeah, the thing about it, Pastor Rodney, is that who would think that one man could do so much in his lifetime? Just one man.
By doing that is asking many other men and women to come on board to do that. We have a few members of our committee here with us this evening, and is that Dr. Emmanuel Fina is relaxing there in his chair, the guy from La Plaine who is in Washington somewhere. Very good evening to you, Dr. Fina.
He'll have to turn on his mic. You need to turn on your mic, Dr. Finn.
Fina, are you with me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay, great. I said good evening, Pastor Rodney, and good evening, Mr. Bully, and of course, our committee members, and all the guests on this panel here. I suppose, like you, Pastor Rodney, Mr. Bully was my teacher in English, and also the acting headmaster. I remember something poignantly that in 1977, I was applying to a polytechnic I think in Yorkshire or Warwickshire. I don't remember. The years have gone by, you know. And he wrote me this really, really flamboyant recommendation. Needless to say, I chose to come to the United States instead of going to the UK. But obviously, I remember that poignantly. And full disclosure, and I don't think I deserve what he wrote, you know. But anyway, the thing about it is that in our English class, Mr. Bully just didn't teach us English. He really taught us the world. You know what I mean? He taught us the world beyond our small island. You know, because obviously his experience was so wide and so far. And I was just talking to a friend of mine a couple of years ago about my teachers in school, and Alvin Bully was, you know, really front and center. So obviously the years have gone by. I'm far away from Valley Road. If you may, far away from Lapland, Pastor Rodney, if you may. But I remember Mr. Bully poignantly. And so I am honored, you know, this thing has come full circle, if you may. I'm honored to be part of the committee, which unanimously chose Mr. Dr. Alvin Bully. So congrats, Mr. Bully. And you wouldn't know the impact that you had on folks like Emmanuel Fenn. I'm quite sure if you round up people like Gabriel, Kristen, and others, we would probably sing the same chorus, you know? Indeed, you're a true Dominican hero, and you've made an impact on us. And for that, we want to say thank you so much, very much indeed. Thank you, Pastor Rodney.
Thanks, Dr. Finn. Thanks, Dr. Finn. We'll go to one of the ladies on the committee momentarily, but let me permit me to say that when Alwyn became, and I don't know if you were there, Dr. Finn, but when Alwyn became the principal of grammar school, he brought a new spirit, a spirit that kind of allowed us to be molded in, you know, instead of caning. I think Alwyn must have done less caning than his predecessors. He had more conversation. And I wasn't a guy who got caning at all, but he brought in more conversation, a probably softer disciplinarian, if you like, that began to change the minds of people like me, who were at the time, I mean, closer to fifth form at the time. So those are the things that stayed with me about Alwyn. Janice, are you in my audience? Are you on the call?
I am certainly here.
Did you hear Janice, Pastor Rodney? Janice is with us.
I am with everyone. I want to say good evening to the entire panel. And a special good evening to Dr. Bully, Dr. Alwyn Bully. I feel very honored to be part of this committee that now honors you. Growing up, I have always viewed you as a gentle angel. I've always seen you not as a normal man, but as an angel. And today I want to say congratulations to you, Dr. Bully, a true Dominican hero. May God continue to keep you, bless you, and give you lots of smiles. Because every day I passed by when I was a young girl, you always just said a gentle, "Hi, Janice, how are you doing?" God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Chairman Jackson, we got on to Steve. Should I respond now to the restriction talking about, or would you like them to respond then? Okay. Now it's Steve of the meeting. With your directions, shall we proceed?
Pastor Rodney, we're not hearing you. I think your mic may be off. You might need to let us hear you.
Yeah, I turned it off so that I could have heard
You're good. You're good now. We're hearing you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's say that.
All right. Sure. Sure. Hold on, Anita. Hold on. Let me just get you on this microphone. Yes. Go ahead.
For those of you who don't know, Alwyn suffers from Parkinson's now, and it has affected his voice terribly. So you find that sometimes the voice is very good and he can make himself, people understand him. Today it's not so hot, so we just have to, Alwyn, you can just listen to us give you your kudos, okay?
We're good, and
All right. Thanks, Anita, for bringing that up.
She didn't hear you first time? I was waiting for her to hear you.
We have another member of committee here that is Crispin. Are you hearing me?
Your mic is off, Chris. Okay.
Good. Your comments, please.
Unmute, Crispin.
Crispin, I'm not hearing you at all.
That's because his mic is muted.
Can I ask Sharon?
No, he's all right now. He's
While
unmuted.
Crispin unmute.
That's what I'm doing.
He's
Not
unmuted
muted.
now. He's okay.
All right, go ahead, Crispin.
Yeah, good evening, Pastor Randy. Good evening to the members of the committee. And good evening to all Dominicans and non-Dominicans listening to our program tonight. It's an unusual program because this is a real Caribbean salute to one of our heroes. And I'd like to say good evening to Dr. Alwyn Bully, to his wife, Anita, and all his friends who are on this program tonight. We are really honored to recognize one of the heroes of Dominica. And he's not just a hero limited to our shores, but to the whole Caribbean and beyond. Those of us who know Alwyn, and I'm privileged to have known him for a long time now, maybe since I was in high school. He's clearly a legend in the cultural arena of Dominica and the cultural arena of the Caribbean. And Alwyn, he created probably one of the most legendary institutions of culture in Dominica. That was the People's Action Theater. And it was formed in the early 70s, I believe 1971. What made the People's Action Theater so legendary was the fact that they focused right from the beginning on social issues. And at the time, the major social issue of the time was the emergence of the Rasta movement in Dominica. And many of his plays did have these themes around the social issues, the Rasta movement, youth. And Alwyn, as a teacher, as a principal, as a playwright, a costume designer, a director at the Cultural Division, and of course his stint at UNESCO, clearly a testimony of how great this man has trailed the whole trail of cultural and arts development in the Caribbean. Clearly, the University of the West Indies has showered him with honorary doctorates, and of course, his own doctorate, and he's a scholar, he's a writer, he's a playwright. What else can I say? I mean, the man is just everything that you can think about under the sun, he's probably done. I know that today he has challenges of health. That's part of getting old. I'm right behind you, Alwyn, on that one. But I can say that Alwyn has impacted my life. I didn't go to the Dominica Grammar School, but I was very much active during that time when he was teaching at the grammar school. And I can only say thank you, Alwyn, for all you've done for Dominica, all you've done for the Caribbean, all you've done for island states, and the fact that we have a strong African aspect to our culture. You know that very well, and you have actually made sure that we connected to the African continent. So I just want to say, there are many things I could say tonight, but there are many people who will speak tonight. So thank you very much, Alwyn, and thank you, Anita, for making sure that Alwyn was able to do all that work and you standing firmly by his side. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Crispin. Thanks, Ambassador Crispin, for that. Very, very good. Mr. G, I don't recognize anybody else from the committee on the call. Do you have Corinne?
Corinne is in San Francisco. They're having some issues there, so I don't think she's going to be able to come on right now. So she might get on later, but she's not able to come in now.
Okay. All right, then permit me to begin to share some of the tributes that we have. And I want all of you listeners to know tonight that we have, what, literally tons of tributes. Like literally tons of tributes. And I want to share all of it with you. At some point, we'll open the lines this evening so you can share your own thoughts as if you're listening. This evening, we will go beyond 8 o'clock, certainly, and thanks to Mr. G for allowing us to do that, and I'm grateful to Fadina for granting us her time on In the Spotlight this evening. So we will go beyond 8 o'clock, and we want you to stay with us this evening as we do this. But I want to get some homegrown people, if you don't mind, first, and then I'm going to intersperse those tributes with some of those who were the academic colleagues and all the other colleagues of culture, and as we do that. So let's start. Let's start with Amma Harris as she presents her tribute to Alwyn.
Greetings,
No sound is coming through.
There's no sound coming through. Integrity. It continues with self-sacrifice, consistency, passionate, love of country, love of family, a talent with such a range and depth, who uses gifts for the benefit of others beyond self-aggrandizement. That's Dr. Alwyn Bully. What a man. What a person. Alwyn, a friend from my childhood days, a co-worker in the arts and culture, a champion of the arts and culture of our beautiful island of Dominica, T. Dominique, a champion beyond our treasured shores to the entire Caribbean and into the world of arts and culture. It is indeed an honor, yes, a privilege to call Dr. Alwyn Bully my friend. It was an experience working alongside you, Alwyn, in those early days. Such an eye for perfection, such a flair for the depth of meaning and creativity that flowed from every work that you shared. Work that those who had eyes to see were in awe at where he was taking us. His ingenuity showed itself so clearly in his work as a playwright, a director, a theater producer, a film producer, a historian, a true visionary. And is there anything you cannot do? I remember the first set of lyrics and the melody that became a hit on Dominican radio. I said, yes, Alwyn, a composer and lyricist on top of it all. And then he carried us beyond Dominica as the United Nations representative of arts and culture for the Caribbean. Being a man of many languages and an explosion of ideas, that would be a simple task. No, actually, a joy for him. Speaking of language, years and years ago, I remember seeing a video of Dr. Alwyn Bully teaching a class on Kwayal. You see, he always understood the very soul, the very essence of what culture actually means. It is the life and soul of a people, not surface niceties, but who we are at the very core of our being. And that comes through in his plays, his songs, his visual art, his costume, his set design, his performance style, the way he captures the history of the day, documenting it for posterity. The man himself. Then there are the structures he set in place to bring to life who we are as a Dominican people and who we all are as a Caribbean people. Oh yes, my friend Alwyn, to you, our Caribbean champion of the arts and culture, to you, our national hero, Dr. Alwyn Bully, I hail you. I give a shout out to Mr. Sheridan Guegua and his team at Q95 FM for recognizing that which has been before our very eyes all these years. You see, you are a champion, Alwyn. You are a treasure. You are our national hero, Dr. Alwyn Bully. May God bless you, my dear Alwyn. God bless you, Dr. Alwyn Bully.
Alwyn.
That was Amma Harris with her tribute to Alwyn Bully. Let's just take Arnold Toulon straight away.
Alwyn Bully. Theater. It's like the same thing. Eh? Alwyn Bully means theater. It's like a blackboard. From the time you meet Alwyn, he's either going to get you to write something or think about something that was written or listen to some music that was made. In Nightbox, one of his plays, Alwyn produced a sort of a dark theater, which would be like compared to a thriller, you know, which it was a thriller. But you think Alfred Hitchcock. I happened to play Nimrod, who was the kid who was deranged and was probably responsible for the deaths also that were going on in the house of the Nightbox. But I was responsible for the Nightbox, which had a secret document. So I acted in that play. I think at the time I was directed by Mikey Bruno, not Alwyn, but it was Alwyn's play. And there were many more. But I need to go back further. When I was still in primary school, I'm 59 now. Well, on August the 19th, I'll be 59. I knew Alwyn growing up, you know, on Hillsborough Street. I live lower Hillsborough Street, and Alwyn lives higher Hillsborough Street. But it was not something that just happened away, you know. You know, our families are close. My mother is a butler, my father is a Toulon. Also my mother is a teacher, home lady. My father works in government. And they have all these friends and friends of friends, and we have all these families. But Alwyn came into my life like somebody that had a venture. You understand? They told me to speak 4 minutes and it's 2 minutes already. Even in my early days, we were listening to like E.P. Tommy, African dance drum and stuff, then Godspell and all kind of like music theater was straining us to go back and read and to learn so much. You know? Born November 3rd, 1948, and he designed Dominica's national flag.
Arnold Toulon on Alwyn Bully. One more before we break into another rhythm here. And I will take this one from Ian Jackson.
Yeah, this is Ian Jackson. As a student of the Dominica Grammar School from 1973 to 78, 79, where Mr. Bully served for a couple of years as principal, I just want to congratulate this the move made by Q95 to recognize this gentleman as one of our great Dominicans and give him his flowers while he's alive. Mr. Bully, you know, has been a real ambassador for our actually culture in Dominica and the Caribbean. I remember the days of grammar school when we were involved in drama. He did a very big part in bringing up the self-esteem of students of that era. And in that, I think that we won the most medals in sports and also in sports within the country, not just in grammar school. Most records were broken. You know, and culture, it shows, certainly heightens person's self-esteem. Grammar school was at a high when Mr. Bully served as principal. And he brought in culture, a very strong element of culture and arts and literature. I joined the Dominica Writers Guild in 1981, and Mr. Olin Bully was a leading figure in creating the Dominica Writers Guild. This gentleman, unknown to him from a distance, have molded my life, and many, I'm sure hundreds and thousands of Dominicans who have passed through or who has dealt with him in some way or the other. I was also in Jamaica doing some studies, doing a 3-month program, and he was one of those that entered into my presentation when I did a one-man show. And Mr. Bully has been forever there in his plays, P.O.P.O.P., Popo, and, you know, Morning Miss Millie, which ran for, you know, a couple of years in Jamaica non-stop. And I've been to all his plays from one time I was young in the 70s with P.A.T. And so it is just Obvious Dominica's most fitting individual. He was the one who designed our flag and everything else. And I've written songs for Ophelia and other persons, you know. And this gentleman is just one of the greatest Dominicans who ever lived. And when I went to see him some time ago, I realized that his health was fading, and I just thought I was moved to write an article about him. And I'm making a request today that the Arax of House of Culture, when it is commissioned once more, that it should be named Olin Bully's House. Because I don't know any Ararat. I am aware of Kalinagos and the contribution they have made and so on, but we don't have any names of any Ararat. So even though you want to leave the Ararat House of Culture to say that the Ararat pass through here, I just think that it's incumbent on our leadership to consider naming the Ararat House of Culture as Olin Bully's House for the great contribution. I think he's the greatest cultural icon ever in this country. And I just want to congratulate Q95 for recognizing his worth. And I wish him all the best and Godspeed.
Ian Jackson. Anita, you're sitting next to me here and you are listening to some of these comments about Olwyn, a man that you got married to so many years ago. I will ask you a few more questions about that. but without stealing your thunder or having you expose Olwyn's secrets or anything like this, tell us a little bit about Olwyn the man, if you care to do that.
Well, Olwyn and I have two completely different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very warm and kind soul. Olwyn doesn't know how to tell people no. I mean, people would just come and say, Olwyn, I need your help. They would bring a folder with their poems and ask him, can you please read that and give me some feedback? And he would sit there and do that. Somebody would bring a play to him. Children would come. I remember after we came back to Dominica, every National Day celebrations, the kids would have a project on talking about the flag or some kind of emblem of Dominica. And the parents would call and say, can they interview Olwyn? And he would never say no. So 3, 4, 5 kids would come and they would interview him and ask him all kind of questions. And he has the patience of a saint with kids, you know, so he would talk to them and tell them what everything meant and that kind of thing. And he has always been like that.
Okay.
I don't have the patience he has, okay? But he has a lot of patience.
You know, very often we talk about people, Mr. G, and you know, we sometimes in our lifting people fail to note sometimes the real essence or the strength that's behind them. I just took a note of that, and I know my wife is listening tonight, so I'm going to ask her to be Anita. Your comments, Mr. G.
I don't want to comment about you and your wife, Pastor Rodney. Would you like me to do that then? Or you turn off your mic so I can hear you?
I said no, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. No, Pastor Rodney, the thing about this, what we're doing here tonight is unbelievable, I mean, I don't know of too many people whom we can just sit there and rattle out so many things that this man has done. And look what Anita just said, right? This man has so much patience. I mean, how do you do all of that without having patience? You ought to be a saint. I mean, come on. I mean, this is a lot to get done in any one person's lifetime. I mean, he did it not only in Dominica, he did it in Barbados, he did it in Jamaica, he did it all over the place. So everywhere this man went, he became a legend. And so I think, Pastor Rodney, it is really fitting for us to really honor this man. I'm sorry? I thought somebody was saying something. Pastor Rodney, let me go back to you because I think maybe somebody wanted to say something.
All right. All right. Somebody's on the call. If you need to say something, then you can just indicate so. Mr. G, Alwyn's path, like I said when I started, has affected so many people. I love the fact that Ian could probably stand for the DGS crew as far as Alwyn is concerned, and I'm sure that there'll be lots of grammar school students would have loved to mention something. Those of us who went to school between 73 and 79. Very interesting period, I think, at the Dominica Grammar School. But let me get on to hear what Raymond Lawrence would have to say on Alwyn Bully. Raymond Lawrence succeeded him, I think, in his position as Chief Cultural Officer. Let's hear Raymond. Let's hear what they have to say. And then we will break from Dominica a little bit and we'll get into some of the people in the Caribbean. Let's hear Raymond.
I have known Dr. Alwyn Bully practically all my life. I joined his little theater group at the age of 11. The group changed its name to the People's Action Theater some years later. I acted in a number of plays which Alwyn produced and directed, such as Pio Pio and Jesus Christ Superstar. Alwyn has had a great influence on my life in the area of arts and culture. He has always been a very dynamic and multi-talented individual. He is a playwright, drama director, and actor, a filmmaker, a music composer and choreographer, a costume designer and builder, an artist, a poet, and short story writer. Alwyn has directed and staged many plays in Dominica and also in Jamaica, where he lived and worked for about 20 years with the UNESCO office there. He is also the director of the Caribbean Theatre Network, which he established while in Jamaica and which has staged several dramatic productions. In Dominica, after he had taught at the Dominica Grammar School and been acting principal there for a short while, he was asked to head the cultural division as the first chief cultural officer when the division was set up in 1978. He was later joined by Pearl Christian in 1981 and myself in 1982 after I had returned to Dominica from Montserrat, where I worked with Radio Antilles for 4 years. As head of the Cultural Division from 1978 to 1987, Alwyn was able to lay the foundations of the division and give it direction and guidance. He was very instrumental in the establishment of cultural institutions like the National Cultural Council, the Comité Poétique Créole, or CEC, the Dominica Writers Guild, the Dominica Pan Association, and the then Carnival Organizing Committee. The Cultural Vision, through the Carnival Organizing Committee, was able to plan and organize Carnival from 1980 to about 1997, when the Dominica Festivals Commission was established and took over the running of Carnival. So from 1980 to 1987, Alwyn was the chairman of the Carnival Organizing Committee and spearheaded the planning and implementation of Carnival celebrations. He toured the Caribbean with several of his plays, including Streak, Nightbox, and Ruler in Hairuna. While in Jamaica, he staged and directed several plays, and he also directed musicals for Father Holong. He has designed and built several costumes through the years, especially for Carnival Queen contestants, and he has produced numerous beautiful paintings and sculptures and staged many exhibitions of his work. He has acted in films and has written and directed films, including his most recent, Osei and the Masqueraders, which has been shown in film festivals in Trinidad and North America. Alwyn has also written several short stories and poems. He received many awards both here and in Jamaica. Among the awards which he received in Dominica are the Cicero Award and the Golden Drum Award, and he has received a number of Actor Boy Awards in Jamaica while he was living and working there. The University of the West Indies bestowed on him the prestigious title of Doctor of Letters in 2011. Alwyn is a very creative and innovative person. He has a lot of ideas. He's always ready and willing to try new things and launch out on new projects. He has a deep love and passion for culture. He influenced and guided many young persons in their interest and work in arts and cultural development in Dominica. Apart from his talents and skills, I've always found Alwyn to be very kind, understanding, and a very generous person. He would offer help and assistance to everyone who came to him seeking advice and input in whatever project they were working on. He would give me advice when it came to my own dance group, the Waitakubuli Dance Theatre Company. He would also attend our shows and share with me very important critiques and feedback and encouragement. He is indeed an artist extraordinaire. He is truly an outstanding Dominican cultural icon. He's a family man. He has been supportive of his family. His daughter, Shadi Bully, apart from being a medical doctor, is also an accomplished dancer and choreographer. His wife, Anita Bully, has been of tremendous support to him in all his endeavors and during his challenging times. So Alwyn has made significant and great impact in the field of arts and culture locally and regionally. He is very well respected and recognized regionally as an expert in culture, and he has certainly distinguished himself as a major force in culture in the region. I want to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank Alwyn for his major contribution to arts and cultural development and for his positive influence on my life and his influence on so many aspiring and established artists in the field of arts and culture. I also wish to pay tribute to him on his numerous accomplishments and awards and his recognition and acclaim. Alwyn has made Dominica and the region proud of his great contribution and achievements in enhancing and promoting the advancement of arts and culture in the region. I also congratulate him on this special honor which is being bestowed on him by Q95, the honor of Dominican Hero, because he is indeed one of our outstanding heroes, especially in the field of culture. His name will forever live on as one of our Dominican greats who have made outstanding and significant impact on the cultural landscape of Dominica and the wider Caribbean. So Alwyn, I salute you and honor you on this very special occasion. Hearty and well-deserved congratulations.
Raymond Lawrence, in his indomitable voice there, honoring Alwyn Bully. We're going to take 4 tributes. I'm going to just let you listen to them, one following the other. Like I said, we have a number of them, and we have a few people on the call that I want to bring in. I want to make a promise to you callers. I will begin to open the line somewhere around 7:45, so you can call with your own tributes as well. And but you need to give us a little time so we could get through with quite a number of those that we have here already at the studio. All right. So we're going to listen to Carol Laws, Carol Mason Bishop, Karen Ford, and Sandra Gift, all of them with their tributes on Alwyn. Please listen.
He draws, he paints, he sings, he dances, he designs, he writes, he acts and directs for the street, the stage, and for film. From his Cave Hill days, Alwyn Bully developed and exhibited his interest in and love for the Caribbean, becoming not only Dominica's but the region's consummate artist. He leaves his mark wherever he goes, not only on the creative scene, but also on the people with whom he comes in contact. Attesting to that is a trail of lasting friendships which may be found in any of the English, Spanish, French, or Dutch-speaking countries washed by our beloved sea. He possessed the skills and qualities which made him the best person to have been chosen by UNESCO to conduct their cultural program in the region for so many years, representing us at the highest level and ensuring that we benefited from all that that international institution had to offer. But he also made sure that our point of view was included in all their decisions and that our governments were well prepared so that they could stand strong in any deliberations. One of his qualities which many could do well to copy is his willingness to listen, even when his own views are strongly held, and his ability to make changes and to compromise for the benefit of the greater good. And he continues to grow. Despite all his accomplishments, he adapts to new situations and takes pleasure in life. Not surprisingly, Alwyn places great importance on family and supports them as much as they support him. He exemplifies what is meant by husband, father, son, and brother, and he has taken each step with his wife Anita by his side, sharing his values, his joys, and his sorrows. We salute you, Alwyn, and congratulate you on this well-deserved honor. Long live.
My name is Carol Mason Bishop, and I feel privileged to be a part of this celebration honoring Alwyn Bully, our hero, our icon, our friend, our colleague, our quintessential Caribbean man. Alwyn is loved and cherished by us all. I remember Alwyn in many ways, but especially as a dependable and loyal friend and advisor, as well as a colleague, when I was a staff member at the CARICOM Secretariat as head of the then Department of Education and Culture, and he was the UNESCO advisor in culture at the regional office in Kingston, Jamaica. We interacted regularly on matters of culture in general, and in particular, at that time, on the work of CariFesta, the Caribbean Festival of Arts. Alwyn was passionate about this. So it was not difficult to understand that when the CARICOM Ministers of Culture and ultimately the heads of government of the region decided that in keeping with new trends and directions regionally and internationally, it was time to take the festival in a new direction. It was Alwyn to whom the region turned to lead this process. and as head of the newly established Interim Festival Directorate, Alvin was assigned to lead our region in ways hitherto unknown. Despite the onerous duties associated with his work at UNESCO, he, without hesitation, accepted the challenge and carried out the task in his usual dedicated and determined manner. We all feel a sense of gratitude for the work that Alwyn did during his period as head of the IFD. So once again, thank you, Alwyn, for your work. And as the saying goes, may the wind always be at your back and the sun upon your face. Blessings always.
I had the good fortune to be introduced to Alwyn Bully and his wife Anita by my late husband Earl Warner upon their arrival in Jamaica in 1987 when Alwyn took up the post of UNESCO Advisor for Culture Jamaica. Earl and Alwyn had been friends for many years, being kindred spirits and talents in their passion for Caribbean art and culture. I recall Alwyn then as a warm, loving, and thoughtful man with bright, intelligent eyes. As my daughter said recently, he has a way of making you feel seen. Well, even as Alwyn toiled to coordinate UNESCO's General History of the Caribbean project, he, with his dynamic soulmate Anita and their active children, created a welcoming, hospitable home where great parties with delectable food became legendary. Anita was head cook and bottle washer to Alwyn's role as gracious host. It was obvious to all that Alwyn was deeply in love with his wife, devoted to his family, and committed to having fun. Nourishing that joie de vivre was his creative imagination, fueled by his passion for researching and showcasing Caribbean history, arts, and culture. I was aware that he had already made a profound and revolutionary impact on the cultural landscape in his native Dominica and was now poised to extend his talent and influence across the entire Caribbean archipelago. In due course, however, Alwyn returned to his beloved Dominica to advance his contribution to national development, and his Jamaican fans and family were left bereft. Happily, we didn't suffer for long, as Alwyn returned to Jamaica every year to direct one spectacular production after another for Father Richard Holong and Friends, Missionaries of the Poor, a cause to which he was deeply committed. In 2011, the University of the West Indies conferred an honorary degree of Doctor of Letters on Alwyn at the presentation of graduate ceremony held in Antigua and Barbuda. It was my privilege, honor, and joy as the campus registrar for the UWI Open Campus at the time to make arrangements for Alwyn, Anita, and friends who came to join them as they celebrated this proud moment. This was also a very fitting tribute, as Alwyn has a special relationship with the UWI and its Cave Hill campus in particular, where he earned his BA in English and French. In his citation, it was recorded that he attributed that experience as a young man with providing him with the opportunity to understand himself, his region, his people, and his country. My family and I are indeed blessed to enjoy an enduring and enriching friendship with Alwyn Bully, the cultural icon we honor and celebrate in this profound way today. Congratulations, Alwyn. And as we say in Jamaica, walk good with your beloved Anita by your side.
My name is Sandra Gift, and I'm very happy to be part of this tribute to Mr. Alwyn Bully. Kudos to our heroes of Dominica. I have known Alwyn Bully for about 31 years. Most of this time has been as UNESCO colleagues, when he served as cultural advisor for the Caribbean region. I soon came to realize that this was not just a job title for Alwyn, as he is the consummate artist passionate about writing plays and poetry, passionate about art, dance, costume design, carnival, folk theatre, film, and indeed all aspects of cultural life. He is truly an expert on Caribbean culture. While it is perhaps true to say that he lives in his boundless imagination, at the same time, I recall Orwin being very concerned about the practicalities of infrastructure and policy frameworks that would ensure the sustainability of Caribbean cultural industries, products, and services. This was particularly evident when we collaborated on education about UNESCO's World Heritage Sites for UNESCO-associated schools in the Caribbean, co-hosting a workshop in St. Kitts and Nevis. A man of the people and a very good listener, it is no surprise that he has the easy gift of being able to communicate with people from all walks of life, giving attention and respect to all. He greets you with a warm and ready smile that makes you feel a kindred spirit. I feel valued to be a friend of Orwin and his family. Orwin, thank you most sincerely for always sharing with me your wealth of knowledge on Caribbean culture and providing insights into your own work. Thank you for your collegiality and friendship over so many years. May God continue to guide and bless you always. Thank you.
If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way, there's a place for people like you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, Monday, the 30th of August, we are honoring on Kudos for Heroes, Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully.
There's a hand to hold.
And we went from Dominica and we jumped the region. And you heard people talk about Alwyn's work with UNESCO and Carifesta. So it wasn't just People's Action Theatre and Nightbox, but it's Dominica and the Caribbean. There's a place somewhere for people like you, Alwyn.
If you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you.
A little pause so you could have internalized all the things that you heard, and you could recognize that this is not just an ordinary gentleman. And like I often say, there are many heroes in our midst, everywhere across this island. But when you find someone who really impacted so many people, you know, you have to really pause and give some recognition, due recognition to someone like that. And that's Dr. Alvin Bully. Now, I've heard several people mention Father Holong. And I want to go to Father Holong himself. Because I think 3 or so people mentioned Father Holong so far, right? So I want to go to Father Holong himself.
I agree.
Let me hear what Father Holong himself have to say about, like we say here, Anita, that Alwyn.
Alwyn Bully, this is your friend, Father Richard Holong, and what years we've had together. Starting in the 1990s when you started with Sugar Cane, Ruby, you went through Amazing Grace, you took us through Jesus 2000, the turn of the millennium, and you brought us such beauty and such knowledge and confidence. You certainly are the best that the Lord could have sent to us. And we work very well, complementary most of the time, both because of our West Indian background, but also because of our love of the Lord and love of the poor. And you gave everything free of cost, all your talent, all your time. And even when you went back to Dominica, you came back to Jamaica to help us. Praise God for a man like you, with such heart and at the same time with such knowledge. You remember all that dancing that we did and brought to theater, all that Caribbean songs to ancient Israel and the struggle of God's people for freedom. All the memorable moments of the sea parting and times when we had like the crucifixion, Jesus being taken down from the cross after being whipped and beaten. All these beautiful, beautiful moments you made magical and very convincing, although the rhythms were all, and the music was all Caribbean. Yet at the same time, it felt ancient and at the same time new. And universal. Look at the amount of tours that we did. Do you realize, Alwyn, that we did something like over 300 concerts? And people from all different types of backgrounds. Germany, Brazil, Philippines, even Africa, we toured. In the United States, we went to, I don't know how many states, but just about all through America. And we crafted together some very, very, very intriguing matters like the parting of the Red Sea, and also matters like the struggle between good and evil, between Jesus and Satan, those beautiful, beautiful scenes, powerful scenes. And we had young people, middle class people, poor people, rich people, people knowledge in the theater, just standing on their feet and applauding. What an adventure it has been knowing you as a creative spirit. And at the same time, I'm deeply, deeply Christian man. I pray, Alwyn, that this honor you receive as a gift given by your country, but also given by God. Because your talent didn't come just from training. Your talent came from the Lord himself. Just as in my case. As you know, I can't write music, score, that is, I can't play instruments, and my voice in terms of singing is just horrible. But somehow, the Lord wrought with us imperfect people. Great, 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 great art. And you deserve it. It's been an honor. I bow before you and say, fellow man, you're just great. God has made a man like you such talent and yet at the same time such humility and a sense of service to the Caribbean. God bless you.
Mr. G, he spoke for me, didn't he? But I just learned quite some things that Alwyn did. We probably should look for this place for Dominica, Anita.
Yes, we should. But the thing is, Father Holong gave Alwyn an opportunity that he just couldn't get in the Caribbean, in the Eastern Caribbean. Father Holong had his place at the arena in Jamaica.
Wow.
It holds 10,000 people. And the stage would be 2 stories high. Alwyn's brain is always going, and he wants to do things a bit bigger and better every time. So Father Holong gave him the opportunity to let his imagination just go wild. And he was able to do that. Getting those big sets, a cast of 80, an orchestra there with a whole choir, plus the singers on stage, costumes you would not believe, lighting, and anything he would ask for, he could get because of the work that Father Holong does for the poor. People who have been put out by their own families because they have some disability or the other. Father Holong took them on, and the business community supported him in his efforts. So Alwyn was able to get anything he wanted. And one of his greatest achievements is doing Moses. That play was just amazing. The special effects on that was mind-blowing. I remember going to the first production when there were 10,000 students in that arena. And when he parted the Red Sea, the kids got on the chairs and they screamed the place down.
Wow.
Because the sea actually parted. And then the crowd came through. And then when the soldiers were coming, the sea took over again.
Wow.
And between the lighting and the special effects that he was able to create, it was just mind-blowing. And of course, he has gotten several Actorboy Awards for his work in theater, especially in directing and special effects and that kind of thing.
You know, it always moves me when people are able to use their talent. And that's one of the things that on a committee here on this Kudos for Heroes committee, we look for. When people are able to use their God-given talent for the development of people, for lifting souls, for bringing life to people. I think it's more than just a capacity or something. It's a God gift, like Father Holong said.
Yeah, but Alwyn always says, Alwyn will sit down and write a play in a few hours. Okay? He says he is just taking dictation. It comes from somewhere, somehow. When he's thinking about doing a production, he's thinking about all those things. And he just sits down and he just
writes.
comes.
Wow.
And he writes. If you see the original scripts of some of his plays, you would not believe that that is an original script because there's seldom anything crossed out and amended. And he always says it's a gift from God.
Yeah. Has to be. And I tell you, Mr. G, you'll understand why I'm so moved by that, because I just, these are the areas that get me going.
Well, you're not the only one who's moved here, Pastor. I believe all of us here on this panel here are moved, and many, many people are listening. I'm getting a lot of WhatsApp messages. Many, many people out there are moved, in fact, by what they're hearing about Alwyn. Everybody knows and loves Alwyn, but not too many people know the extent of the work that Alwyn has done, not only in Dominica, but throughout the region. And even some of what I'm hearing today from Father Holong is kind of new to me. When I hear Anita talking about Alwyn performing in the presence of 10,000 people, I mean, it's terrific, especially when you say 10,000 students. You're talking young people who could be inspired and moved into a new direction. I think this is just tremendous. Pastor Rodney, I believe you have some people here on the panel with us who may not have had a chance to record a tribute. I don't know whether you want to make an opportunity for them to say something if they have not yet made the tribute. Might be nice to hear from them when you can, you know?
Certainly. I'm going to take one more tribute here from John Robert Lee. And then I will open up to those on the panel there, and those of you who I don't have a tribute for, so they too can tell us a little bit about Alwyn. Let's do it, and let's do it nice. Let me take John Robert Lee. I want to hear what this gentleman as well has to say about Alwyn. I think I've heard him, that name, you know, in other areas. And one of them mentioned some things. I remember some years ago when Alwyn did the play Ruler in Hiruna. That is what motivated me to get the book, right? So I got the book and actually read the entire book. It actually came out when Alwyn wrote that play Ruler in Hiruna. So let's listen to John Robert Lee.
This is John Robert Lee, a St. Lucian writer. I first met Alwyn Bully in 1969. I remember very clearly. He had come to St. Lucia with a drama group from Cave Hill campus, UWI. And he was acting in the play Moon on a Rainbow Shore. He was playing the lead part there. I had already been involved in theater at home in St. Lucia. And I was totally blown away by this man playing this lead role. The play was very well done. But Alwyn immediately caught my attention with the brilliance of the way in which he was playing that role. We met and spoke then, and I indicated to him I would be coming to Cave Hill in a few weeks to begin studies there. He'd already done his first year. And I got to Cave Hill, we met again, and of course he immediately invited me to join the drama group, which I did. I acted in his play, Good Morning, Miss Millie, and he directed me in other things. We became fast friends from then until now. We were part of a group in Barbados that worked a lot with Barbados theater under Daphne Joseph Hackett. We traveled together through the Caribbean doing workshops. I came to Dominica with him to do theater workshops. And we shared with the generation of that time of the 70s, people from Trinidad like Roll Gibbons, Jamaica, Antigua, St. Kitts. Cave Hill was very good in those days because we had many people from the Eastern Caribbean like ourselves who were studying at Cave Hill. And we got involved with the Barbados community, especially in the theater and arts. But we formed lifelong friendships with many people from the Eastern Caribbean, many of whom became attorney generals and prime ministers. But my friendship with Alwyn continued and has continued for all these years. And someone from whom I've learned much, someone whom I greatly admire. I would call him a true friend and brother. And we share many interests in the arts, in literature, in theater. And we spent many years together as friends with other people from the Caribbean. And so it's a pleasure for me to say a few words in tribute to this great man of Dominica and indeed the Caribbean. Alwyn's curriculum vitae is an impressive record of a life dedicated to the arts, cultural administration, and education. He has been playwright with at least 16 plays to his credit, actor, director, both theater and film, costume designer, with several awards from carnival organizers, stage and lighting designer, graphic artist, painter, sculptor, illustrator, composer, art teacher, filmmaker. He's been an inspiration to several generations of Caribbean theater persons. With his early education beginning at the Dominica Grammar School and St. Mary's Academy, he graduated from the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies with a BA General Honors. In 2011, UWI awarded him an honorary doctorate of letters. Alwyn was a founding member of several Dominican arts and cultural organizations, as well as the Barbados National Theatre Workshop when he was there in the early 70s. He distinguished himself during his undergraduate years in Barbados as president of the Guild of Undergraduates and as a regional artist, making a substantial contribution to theater development. He directed and acted in theater there. He was the leading star of the day in Barbados at that time. He taught workshops, was one of the most influential Caribbean theater people in Barbados during that time. Back home after studies, he founded the People's Action Theatre, was artistic director from 1972 to 1987. The group's work marks some of the most productive years in Dominican theatre. His group traveled to several islands with plays written by Alwyn. Among his now classic Dominican plays are Good Morning Miss Millie, Streak, The Ruler, The Night Box, Pure Pure, and many of the plays have been published in anthologies and performed widely. Alongside his tremendous involvement in the arts, Alwyn rose in the education system in Dominica to become acting principal of the Dominican Grammar School. He later moved on to establish the Department of Culture, became its first director. A man of many talents, in 1978 he designed the distinctive Dominican national flag. His contribution to Caribbean theatre and cultural development is highly respected. He was president of the Caribbean Theatre Information Exchange. Professionally, in 1987, he moved to Jamaica to work at UNESCO as senior program specialist and later the Caribbean culture advisor. There he managed the production of the substantial and groundbreaking 6-volume History of the Caribbean. He became very involved with theatre in Jamaica and directed several successful award-winning theatre productions, including many of Father Richard Ho Lung's very popular annual musical dramas. In 2008, he returned to Dominica as cultural advisor to the Minister of Culture and continued his work in theatre and cultural administration and, of course, Carnival. He wrote and directed films, including his Osei and The Masqueraders in 2017. Alwyn has received the National Cicero Award from the government of Dominica. He certainly deserves whatever further awards are being planned for him in Dominica. It's a pleasure to make this tribute to Alwyn, my friend. I shall add Alwyn's collection of stories, The Cocoa Dance and Other Stories, will be published later this year by the well-known now and influential Papillot Press, based both in Dominica and the United Kingdom. So something to look out for, The Cocoa Dance and Other Stories by Alwyn Bully.
Thank you there, John Robert Lee, on Alwyn Bully. We have a few people on our call tonight, and Gwendolyn Williams. Who else I can see there? Who I do not have a tribute for. Joan, is that Belton or Belfont? So let's take Gwendolyn Williams first. Are you listening, Gwendolyn? Would you now unmute your mic? No, we don't have that person, do we?
Gwendolyn Williams is with us, but she's trying to unmute her mic, I think. So maybe you might want to take somebody else while she's unmuting.
Let's have Joan Belfont. Joan, are you there?
Mic is muted as well.
Okay. All right. What you can do, those of you who want to share, raise your hand, and we will take it. Dr. Finn, I notice you have a raised hand there as well.
No, it's somebody. Arnold. Arnold. Has Arnold done?
Oh, you mean he's raising a real hand? All right, Arnold, yes, let's hear from you. Arnold, you there? I'm not hearing you, Arnold. We seem to be having some voice problem with you, Arnold. All right, but let me repeat myself again. Those of you who are on the call, I don't have a voice tribute from you here. You want to share yours. If you can raise your hands, I will see that, and I will bring you in on the call. All right. As you get ready to do that, then yes, Arnold, that's you. Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead now.
Go ahead.
Arnold, you can go ahead. I think he's having a little buffering problem there.
He's having some internet issues there.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Go ahead now.
Okay. What happened is we're having a lot of system interruptions. It's affecting the way the speaker was going to be recorded.
Yeah, Arnold, we'll have to take you back out again and come back to you because you are just buffering there, and so you're not coming loud and clear at all. Okay, the rest of you, yeah, who wants to share? I don't have a voice note from you. You can raise your hand, and we will do that. In the meantime, let me share with you Dr. Winthrop Wiltshire's tribute on Alwyn.
I am Dr. Winthrop Wiltshire of Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada. I am a friend and colleague of Alwyn. Too often, individuals who have distinguished themselves are heaped with praise and accolades only after they have passed on to higher realms. I am so happy that Alwyn is being recognized in his lifetime. I first met Alwyn in 1988 when I joined UNESCO as the Science and Technology Advisor for the Caribbean. Alwyn was then a consultant to UNESCO in the field of culture. Very soon after, Alwyn was confirmed as the UNESCO Cultural Advisor to the Caribbean. It was very clear from the outset that Alwyn was a special individual. He has made sterling contributions in the field of culture while he was in UNESCO, serving the entire English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean. And after he left UNESCO, he did not slow down. His achievements in productions of plays and films are legend. Alwyn is not only a Dominican hero, Alwyn is a Caribbean hero. Many do not know or recognize that Alwyn is indeed a multi-dimensional individual. He is extremely spiritual, and he has played a significant part in promoting the God-given gift of Reiki in the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica. Reiki is a complementary healing modality that is used in medical establishments all over the world, and indeed by individuals. Many hospitals in the United States use this healing art of Reiki. Many medical doctors in Jamaica have done Reiki. So Alwyn, I salute you. You are not only a Dominican hero, you are a Caribbean icon. Go well, my brother, and enjoy these accolades. You richly deserve them.
Thank you, Dr. Winthrop. Now I see a hand raised there on the call. I don't have a name, but I see a hand. So could you go ahead, please?
I suspect it's Severin Mackenzie.
Yeah, my goodness. Severin Mackenzie, I didn't recognize that face at all. Go right ahead, Severin.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Alwyn Bully. You know the custom with this doctor business, right, Alwyn? Anita, good evening. Good evening to everybody. Thanks, Mr. G, for giving me the opportunity to join in this moment of celebration with Alwyn and Anita, because I'm in my office and I'm just listening, and then I said, how can I make a contribution and say some words, to join in all the compliments that have been bestowed on Alwyn tonight. Alwyn and I go back a very long way. way back in the years at the Dominica Grammar School. He was my English teacher. And coming from the village of Grand Fond, little country bookie boy, got myself into People's Action Theatre. And I could almost say after that, after joining People's Action Theatre and taking part in my first play of Ruler in Hairuna in 1975, you could almost say the rest is history, because after that I played Goube in Green Gold and Winds of Change. Then Claude, the preacher, in Nightbox, and in P.O.P.O. and Folk Nativity and Jesus Christ Superstar, and you just name them. And I think the last stint we had, we've all been on stage again when he brought me back on stage in 2015, when we did Ruler, a rerun of Ruler in Hairuna. And I think that was maybe my last one and the most recent part. And it brings back to mind Mikey Bruni, because Mikey, I'm not too sure if Mikey would have come here and say anything, but having lost Mikey last year, I am really honored to be able to let Alwyn know how much we have appreciated all he has done for us, because we were, going back all these years, you really thought we were big men, but when we look back at the photographs, you just see there's a whole set of young boys. A whole set of not even young boys, a whole set of little boys.
I can see.
And the impact that we had, the impact Alwyn had on the theater movement in Dominica over these years was just, it was just something else. Maybe we were ahead of our time at this time. And I can remember just before I left to study in Cuba, that was after the hurricane. And we had just done Jesus Christ Superstar, the small 16mm version of the film. And Alwyn was in fact getting tired at that time, and he had appointed Paul Toulon and myself to be his assistant art directors of the People's Action Theatre in 1980, 1981. And then in 1981, I left for Cuba to study architecture. But at that time, when we left, we were in fact thinking of going professional. You remember that, Alwyn? Professional in the Caribbean as actors. That's how much of an impact that Alwyn had on the theater movement in Dominica. I'm not even going to comment on all the Caribbean tours that we made to Montserrat, Barbados. And in fact, I think the most memorable tour was Ruler in Hairuna in St. Vincent, when the last night of that play, the crowd was so huge. There were many more people outside waiting to come in, and we decided that we had to do 2 shows in one night. So those were the days. And I would just like to tell Alwyn, hold strong, love, brother, peace and love, the memories will remain forever. This was real, what we call real life. La vida pura. Thanks again, Alwyn. Thanks, Anita, and the rest of PAT who made this impact on our lives. One love.
Thanks, Severin. Thanks, Severin, for that. Alwyn, I want to read you a WhatsApp here, and I'm going to read it as it is from Acting Superintendent Claude Wicks. And Claude Wicks says this: when the former principal had been kicking me out of school, Mr. Bully listened to my mentally ill mom, and he said to her, "Madam, since I'm principal at the Dominica Grammar School, your son will never be out of school again." And he says he always gets emotional when he speaks about your boundless and unparalleled kindness and your exercise of enviable brilliance and uncontaminated love. That is from Acting Superintendent Claude Wicks. He loves to refer himself as Zanfant Gouvelma. Alwyn, thanks on behalf of my friend Claude Wicks We were at the Dominica Grammar School, of course, together at the time. All right, let's pause again and take a couple more tributes that I have here. Ladies and gentlemen, on the telephone, I know I promised you 7:45. It's now 7:46. I know you love me, though, and so you'll give me some more time before I bring in your calls in here, all right? I will bring your calls in here. I promise you that. Mr. G said to me, I have the whole night if I want to honor Alwyn, and so I will give you some time to call in, all right? So be patient. Let's take a few of these ladies again in that order: Paula Shaw, Sheila Graham, and Joycelyn Josiah. Please listen.
Brothers and sisters, it is indeed a pleasure and an honor to be asked to pay tribute to Alwyn Bully, who I consider to be the consummate thespian, playwright, actor, director, costume designer, set designer, choreographer. But more than that, I call him teacher, mentor, friend. I met Alwyn years ago, sometime in the mid to late 1990s when he lived in Jamaica. I first worked with him when he designed the operetta Isaiah, scripted by Father Richard Holong. He worked his magic, breathing fresh air into the production. The costumes presented a new take on the biblical style. The backdrop, a multidimensional busy cityscape, brought a new perspective, literally. We came to know that this was Alwyn's trademark, depth of thought and intellectual rigor, which always resulted in a novel production. We worked together on many other Holong productions. I witnessed his skillful, patient molding of some amazing singers into solid performers. He was a very good director. We also worked together on several other productions, mounted by the Jamaica Musical Theatre Company, one of the most memorable being Sarafina, which many have said was just as good, if not better, than the film version. One of the most spectacular theatrical scenes I've ever experienced was created by Alwyn at the Dennis Scott Theatre at the Edna Manley College Drama School. The theatre was designed to allow its back exterior wall to swing open. Alwyn utilized this aspect of the theatre's design to his advantage. As the scene began, the stage lights dimmed to reveal the back of the theatre, open to the outdoor space, incorporating it into a part of the set for the play. This demonstrated Alwyn's gift of an expansive imagination and a willingness to be daring. Alwyn taught me to give free rein to my movement imagination. He taught me to dig deep for the hidden message of the story and to reveal it through the full range of theatrical movement and dance. He reminded me all the time to take a risk. Don't be so careful, make the thing exciting. But with all that said, for all his high-level talent and skill, Alwyn is simply a good person, a good person. That is the true measure of the man, an excellent role model, a man of strong character and integrity, sensitive to people's feelings, but strong and assertive about the kind of art he wanted to create. For myself, I say thank you, Alwyn, and I know I speak on behalf of all those like me whose theatrical lives have been indelibly touched by a master. Congratulations on this new honor. It is very well deserved.
We tend to define the arts as a collection of disciplines: painting, sculpture, design, music, literature, dance, drama, and the cinematic arts. But for Alwyn Bully, such distinctions are not valid. He embodies them all. A polymath of art, Alwyn has the facility to express his thoughts and ideas in any and all media. But his brilliance with pen and paint, mud and celluloid, pales in the light of his nobility of character. While on the one hand, through his work with UNESCO, Alwyn's energies were uncompromisingly dedicated to the upliftment of the Caribbean spirit and the universalization of Caribbean culture. With equal distinction, he used his talents to express our deepest aspirations as a Caribbean community and to ease the suffering of the most vulnerable of our citizens. Alwyn lived in Jamaica for 20 years, and when he left, we were loath to let him go. During the decade of the 90s, Alwyn and I were colleagues in TCL, the theater company that discovered, nurtured, and promoted playwrights and other Caribbean theater practitioners, showcasing their work for Jamaican audiences. Macbeth, his original adaptation of Macbeth, was written and produced to great acclaim, and during that time he also gave his talents as dramaturg and director to the annual musical spectacle staged by Father Richard Holong and the Brothers of the Poor to raise funds to support their shelters for the poorest of the poor. Alwyn's dedication to that cause, year in, year out, costed him many nights' sleep and even brought him back to Jamaica several times after he had left. He could never resist Father Holong's urgent calls. Alwyn Bully, the man who is my friend for life, is a role model for the questing young men of today. A devoted family man and serious-minded professional, but one who could readily drop a wine to the latest soca hits and crack you up with his ready wit and wry humor. The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired and idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. Ave, Alwyn Bully, National Hero of Dominica, and may I say, the Caribbean.
Hello everyone, this is Jocelyn Josiah from Guyana, and very special greetings to Alwyn with an I. I can't help but smile, remembering the countless times I was gently corrected in the spelling of this name. Right now I'm in the process of downsizing and just came across an issue of the UNESCO Caribbean newsletter in the 90s to the early 2000s, when Alwyn and I occupied adjacent offices there at the 25 Dominica Drive location in Kingston, and we strove to be always mutually supportive of each other. He as culture advisor, and me as communication and information advisor. Alwyn focusing on the cultural industries, his remarkable skill in design, painting, dance, media, knowledge of history, and all things cultural, particularly Caribbean. Me on the appropriate media and information vehicles for all of those. And I can go on and on and on. I remember meeting Alwyn for the first time at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris, France, whereupon he invited me to accompany him to the Diana Ross show, during which I was so struck, not just by his take on the cultural aspect of Ross's singing itself, but by the technical arrangements, the staging, and overall presentation. It was after then that I began to learn of the sterling contribution Alwyn was already making to the wide sphere of culture in the Caribbean, and was assured that I needn't at all be surprised by the in-depth, all-round and technical approach that he took to this production. I also admire the deep love he held and continues to hold for Dominica and the Caribbean as a whole, refusing obstinately to apply for posts at UNESCO headquarters or elsewhere in the world, as he could not tear himself away from the Caribbean, even as a career strategy, as many might have advised. But our interaction was more than merely official. It was also spiritual. I loved and appreciated deeply Alwyn's openness to spirituality, and realized I had found a kindred spirit when he began reading the works of my spiritual master, Meher Baba, for daily guidance. This deep spirituality and sensitivity underline all that he undertakes, and especially the care and devotion for his dear wife and soulmate, Anita, and his family, and the manner in which he weathered both the hardest of challenges in his life, as well as the remarkable successes that have come his way. As our Jamaican friends will tell you, good for you can't be unfair. Alwyn Bully has always encompassed the elements of a national hero, if not a Caribbean hero, and I am tremendously happy for him. Heartiest congratulations on your newest designation, my brother. And I know you will wear it with the dignity and humility which is so much a part of you.
That was Joycelyn Josiah. And I have a couple more to do, and then I'm going to come back to Dominica, right? Anybody else on my call want to share a thought? Any one of you on the call now on with Mr. G wants to share a thought with us?
But you can't see some of them because the video is off, right? But
but if they raise their hand, I would see that.
Yeah. Or you right? Okay. Here, somebody wants to say something.
All right. Yes, go ahead, my dear.
All right.
Hi, Dad.
Sade.
It's Sade. Hi, everyone. Hi, Mom. I just couldn't let the night go by without saying something. You know, everybody talks about the family man. They didn't mention that you're also a grandfather. And I have a 1.5-year-old singing in the background. So I wanted to say something before he grabs me and demands bedtime. I've been so blessed to have you as a father. You always said to me, we choose our parents. And in that case, I chose very, very well. And I speak for both myself and Brent and even Pierre. You have been our hero from the day we were born. Everything we are is because of you. Anybody who knew you could never be surprised when I left medicine to be a dancer. That was all you. We grew up in the theater. We grew up seeing you paint and draw every single day, build something, sculpt something, direct something, write something every single day growing up. And it has made all your children who we are. I just try to live every day the way you've taught me. You're a constant voice in my head, and you will always be pushing me to be better, to be generous. That is the one thing I think really, really above all else. You have been the most generous teacher, mentor, like Mom said, to anybody who came asking. And in my roles here in Jamaica as a director myself, as a choreographer, and as a teacher, I try to be that generous, giving all that I have and encouraging everyone to do the best, never settling for less. You always said anything worth doing is worth doing well. Never stop before it's done, and never stop before it's done at the very, very best of your ability. So that is with me in everything I do. I'm always pushing to be the best, better than you even think you can be the best, and constantly seeking that next level, pushing the boundaries and raising the standard. I got that all from you, and I thank you. And Dominica is blessed to have you. I am blessed to have you. Brent is blessed to have you. Mommy is blessed to have you, and we're going to cherish every single day we have left with you. And you will be with us always, always, always. I love you so much. That's it from me, everyone. Love you, Dad.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. You see, that speaks now of Alwyn the dad. And that just to me brings it all together when you know Alwyn the man, you know Alwyn the husband, you know Alwyn the dad. Everybody knows Alwyn the playwright and Alwyn the this and Alwyn. But when all of that comes together, it really speaks of how holistic that individual is. He's not divorced from the things that he has to do and he's called to do. That is moving. And all of you gentlemen out there, I want you to know that whatever your profession is, you know, you have to get to the place where you have a good woman behind you and you have good children, and you can only have good children when they can say things like that. You know, I learned that because of my dad. I push myself because of my dad, and his voice is always in my head, and that's Alwyn Bully. We have a few more here. Claudia Harvey, Dobrin, Omard, and we have a representative from YMCA. We're going to do that, and then we're going to come back to Dominica, all right, with some of our tributes. So listen to these 3 tributes, and then we'll get to 3 other people from Dominica on my recorded tributes, and I'm going to open the lines as soon as we do that. Please listen.
Greetings all. What an intriguing way to be asked to contribute to honoring your colleague and friend, Mr. Alwyn Bully, to do so by WhatsApp. And so I join happily. I am Claudia Harvey, former UNESCO representative and education advisor based in the Kingston office. What about Alwyn do I see as national, regional hero? One, he's a major contributor. He anchored the UNESCO history of the Caribbean, which helped us all to understand where we came from. And in so doing, he worked with academics, editors, publishers, and so on. 2, his contribution to the establishment of a World Heritage Site in Dominica. 3, his charitable work with Father Holong. Those are the ones that kind of stand out as major contributions. But of course, whenever you think of Alwyn, you also think of art, drama, sculpture, helping you understand the meanings behind productions and so on. So clearly remarkable for his talent. Another thing you notice about Alwyn is how grounded he is in his own spirituality. A fervent churchgoer, but also a deeper understanding of philosophy and a more transcendental understanding of what religion truly means. Also, you seldom say Alwyn, you say Alwyn and Anita and family, grounded in family. But in addition to that, a very strong sense of self. So Alwyn didn't have to impose himself in any space. He was there. I like to see someone who directed a stage, but didn't need to be on stage all the time. Inspiring. People I know who are older now, but Alwyn worked with them in their youth, people like Carla and the Birds of Antigua, they speak of Alwyn with a kind of awe. He has truly inspired them late into their own lives. Then in the public service, we tended to talk about any other duties. These are things you do not normally or not necessarily linked to your main line of work. Alwyn has acted as head of office. He designed the office magazine. He planned any party you were having, any event, he was there. So in honoring this gentleman, one would want to point to how accomplished he is, how distinguished he is, what a committed Dominican and Caribbean man who deserves to be recognized as a national hero. Congratulations, Alwyn. I'm sure Mr. Green, Annette, Yolanda, Mr. Lewis will all join me. All these are former staff of the UNESCO Kingston office who would join me in congratulating you. We celebrate you. It was a pleasure and an honor to work with you. Congratulations again.
Greetings to my Commonwealth of Dominica family. This is Dobrin Omad, Caribbean citizen and friend and colleague of Dr. Alwyn Anthony Bully for over 50 years. Elsewhere, on a different occasion years ago, I described Alwyn as the most important Caribbean artist of his generation. I repeat that statement again on this solemn but celebratory occasion without fear of contradiction. I feel great pride in responding to the invitation to share a few thoughts on this incredible man of arts and culture. It is a pride shared by my wife, Ingrid, and family. Kudos to our heroes and the government of Dominica in recognizing, honoring, and awarding the status of national hero to Alwyn. Tell us, one, that he has made significant contributions to society, and two, that he embodies exemplary personal qualities, a deep and enduring commitment to the nation, and is a citizen held in the highest esteem by most, if not all. Our great philosopher C.L.R. James defines a supreme artist as one who exercises an influence on the national consciousness which is incalculable. He is created by it, but he himself illuminates and amplifies it, bringing the past up to date and charting the future. I witnessed much of Alwyn's journey from a schoolboy playwright, which is what he was when we met at UWI Cave Hill in 1967, to the supreme artist that he is today. He invigorated campus life not only with his theater skills as writer and actor, but his dance, his paintings, his carnival costume designs, and his gentle Dominican joie de vivre. In the following years, many additional skills and talents emerged, those of an imaginative director, as poet and short story writer, as set and lighting designer, as musical composer. I share some of those steps with him. We led similar theater groups at the same time, he, the People's Action Theater, and I, the Harambee Open Air Theater in Antigua. For a number of years, we hosted each other's productions. I've directed two of his plays, Streak and Ruler. I've written with him a radio serial called Fire Go Burn. On two occasions, I have been an invited guest and presenter to the National Island Literary Festival, which he directed. I liked his commitment to management and to organization, his work as head of the Division of Culture, and his major contributions to the development of associations like the National Cultural Council and a host of others promoting artists, writers, PAN, and Carnival. And all this was back-ended by his work with UNESCO as an advisor on culture in the Caribbean. Alwyn's work has been heralded regionally also, awards in Trinidad and Tobago and in Jamaica, and the recognition by the University of the West Indies, the honorary doctorate for outstanding achievements. This elevation to national hero is a crowning glory. I say congratulations to my brother Alwyn. I know of his strong sense of family. I offer congratulations also to his wife of 44 years, Anita, to his children, Brent and Shade, artists in their own right, and to his brother, Regional Public Servant Colin, and the singer-songwriter sister, Barbara. And so, Dominica, when you wave your national flag in recognition of your newest national hero, remember, he designed it. This region is better because of his journey. Thank you, Dominica. Thank you, Alwyn. Thank you.
It's a distinct pleasure for me to offer congratulations to Alwyn on his recognition as a national hero in Dominica. I've been with Alwyn for quite a long time. We worked together for quite a long time. When Alwyn returned to Dominica from his studies at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, he took a run-of-the-mill theater group called the Little Theater and transformed it into a high-performing theatrical entertainment group renamed People's Action Theater, delivering top-level performances to appreciative audiences in Dominica and elsewhere. Alwyn set high standards, but provided the leadership and coaching to get us there. He developed actors, brought innovation to set design and construction, stage setup, lighting, costume, dress, and sound. Alwyn was always uniquely talented. He directed plays and also acted in many plays. He wrote some amazing plays as well as adapting several others. His works mirrored and highlighted Dominican life, thereby creating connection with the audience. He had the uncanny ability of casting people in the right roles and getting them to bring out their character. He was deeply committed to showcasing Dominican artistic musical talent and made every effort to offer a platform for inclusion. He made it a point of taking the productions outside of Roseau to locations where stage adaptations was possible. In PAT, People's Action Theatre, we worked hard, but had fun doing it. So I wish to congratulate Alwyn on this award and all the best.
All right, now let's take Dr. Francis Severin. And following that, I'm going to read you one of Alwyn's colleagues as well in theater in Dominica, from Steve Hyacinth. And we'll have Pearl Christian. And we'll round up my recorded tributes with Dr. Lennox Honeychurch. So let's listen to Dr. Francis Severin on Alwyn Bully.
Many Dominicans know Alwyn Bully for his impact in live theater as a playwright, script writer, actor, choreographer, dancer, director, culture advisor, and whatnot. I have known Alwyn Bully since I was a high school student, and quite possibly earlier than that. The memories that remain absolutely indelible in my mind are his talents as a painter and graphic artist and his organization of a drawing, as we call it in those days, or art competition for young people. He may not even recall that. But that competition was to encourage young artists. And so our drawings and artwork were displayed at a physical art exhibition. It seems there were a lot more of these events before. I suppose Instagram, Facebook, and other social media have replaced all this. And then, of course, we have had to contend with COVID-19. But this is a digression. My brother Peter and I entered the competition. He emerged first, and I second in Ireland. I cannot remember what the prizes were, but that did not matter. The sense of accomplishment in winning a competition that Alwyn Bully had organized and undoubtedly judged was sufficient for my brother and me. I seem to recall that the exhibition was mounted at the Wesley High School next to La Falle's lab. Of course, the latter was not there at the time. I have deliberately highlighted the above as I know most people may speak to his plays and productions. I need those listening to know that Alwyn is the selfless person who has never been interested in self-aggrandizement, wealth, or even fame. If he has any of these, and I am absolutely certain that he has fame, it's purely serendipitous. These were not on his agenda. For me, I have always been interested in social commentary and activism. It is not something that was invented in the last 2 decades for those people who pretend that these were. This is how I grew up. In my seminal years in Roseau, Dominica, I always recall fondly plays such as Streak, The Ruler, The Night Box, Pio Pio, Green Gold. Many of them were held either at the Goodwill Parish Hall or the St. Gerard's Hall. These were the good old and halcyon days of unfettered plays and unchained calypsos, and the days when those people who authored, quote unquote, the plays and the calypsos were not considered haters. They were considered true authentic cultural icons. Alwyn created those good old days for us, and this is his everlasting and perpetual legacy. We are forever indebted to him. Alwyn is also a man who obviously loves his country, in spite of everything. Having lived in Jamaica like him, and I must say I am very privileged to have lived in Jamaica, I am fully aware that the opportunities to have expanded his craft were far greater in Jamaica than in Dominica. Besides, there is a far superior open-mindedness and greater receptivity towards the picong and the social and political commentary and lampooning in Jamaica than there is in Dominica, unfortunately. The audiences were certainly bigger, and he would receive more global recognition in terms of being on a world stage. But Alwyn selflessly returned to Dominica, truly a patriot, if I have any comprehension of that term whatsoever. Good men do not accomplish these great heights on their own. If I am to be so presumptuous as to take my own experience as an illustration. In that regard, I applaud Anita, his dear wife, and thank God for her. She has been like the rock of Gibraltar for Alwyn. He chose an excellent companion, and to be fair, she chose an excellent body. I think romantics would say they are good for each other. They are made for each other. We pray for her continued strength, and we thank her for allowing Dominica the gift of Alwyn rather than keeping him to herself. We must always remember that. Young people in relationships today could learn so much from them. You cannot grow by being selfish and insecure. In light of all of this and much more, I felt very proud to have been the Open Campus's public orator, and therefore had the opportunity to interview and subsequently write the citation concerning the award of the Doctor of Letters honoris causa to Alwyn Bully in 2011. I also feel very privileged and honored to have been invited to share a few ruminations on Alwyn Bully. I am even more delighted to share the same alma mater with Alwyn Bully. That is the University of the West Indies, where he attended between 1967 and 1971. I should point out that Alwyn was born in 1948, the very year the University College of the West Indies commenced teaching. So I think we could say they are made for each other as well. I continue to keep him in my prayers. May God bless Alwyn, Anita, and their family. And I commend those of you who have put together this heroes honoring and recognition. I think this is a wonderful move, and I really think that we must begin to recognize those good people of Dominica, and let the young people looking on see and witness and observe our values in seeing the quality of people recognized. And I also want to say that we have to be very careful and very selective so that the right people are honored, since this is to leave an indelible mark on the minds of our young people.
Advice taken, Dr. Severin. We will always do that. I think we've been doing that ever since we started honoring the people whom we believe have really touched lives in lovely Dominica. Pearl Christian on Alwyn Bully.
Alwyn Bully has done so many things so well. It is difficult to speak about all of them in one sitting. So I choose to focus on Alwyn, the theatre guru, and Alwyn, the father of the Division of Culture. I was 9 years old when, for me, Alwyn began to be a distinguishable thread running through Dominica's theatrical tapestry. He was on stage playing the part of Antonio in The Merchant of Venice. At the time, Dominica was celebrating the 400th anniversary of the birth of William Shakespeare, and various groups had mounted a series of plays and musical presentations to mark that great event. Merchant of Venice for me was where my eyes were opened to the marvel of theater. To this day, I still think of the actors as the characters that they played. I remember Parry Bellot played the part of Bassanio, Amma Harris was Portia, Vincent Robinson played Shylock, Carol Schillingford Nerissa, and Alwyn played Antonio. Now, this was a play I saw once, and the scene where the beleaguered Antonio is in the courtroom before Shylock and Portia is the image that has been indelibly imprinted on my mind ever since. So, at 9, I became theater awestruck, and Alwyn Bully was destined to be the theater guru who would light that artistic path I was to tread. I became a keen theater fan and was lucky to have a father who as well was enamored of theater and the arts generally. Consequently, anything theatrical that had the Alwyn Bully stamp was on our entertainment list. Whatever he did always seemed so innovative and special and beautiful and memorable. I remember Mrs. Cordero had written this play, How Johnny Broke the Spell, which Alwyn directed. He created the most captivating prologue that involved all the mythical characters that appear in our folklore. But for the opening line from the protagonist, Bon Dieu, I didn't see Oliviana, that prologue was what really stayed with me. It was just so creative and out of the ordinary. Now, in 1972, I was selected to be part of the contingent that represented Dominica at CARIFESTA in Guyana. It was my first time working under the directorship of Alwyn Bully. I began to get a closer view of the artistic process which we term theatre. And I began to develop a greater appreciation for the creative genius of the man. In the ensuing years, as a member of the People's Action Theatre, of which Alwyn was the artistic director, and mostly in my capacity as a musician, he was to me like a magician creating things of beauty from wispy dreams. He was very hardworking, and with all of that, he was fun-loving, very kind, and respectful. When I think of Kipling's poem, If, the part that says, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, in a way, it personifies the Alwyn that I'd come to know. He had this ability to operate at all levels, with the simple man as well as the erudite, with the young as well as the old, with equal ease. He was so totally unpretentious. With all of these admirable qualities, it's no wonder that he was able to inspire the steadfast loyalty of those who operated within his ambit. I also came to appreciate the value of the backup warrior behind the conqueror. Alwyn's wife, Anita, was that backup warrior. Without her, he was a ship without a compass. She was a critical player in the broader scheme of things, and much of his success I attribute to her unfailing support. She was smart, creative, good with her hands, an amazing cook, a great hostess, beautiful, and a financial whiz to boot. She kept the books meticulously. You could say that Anita was a perfect yin to Alwyn's yang. She provided balance in his vast, head-spinning world of theatre. As a member of the People's Action Theatre, and later as a cultural officer and music educator, I thoroughly enjoyed supporting Alwyn as he continued to stage wonderful musicals and plays, which he treated with a style he termed Calypso Theatre, whereby he incorporated music into the piece. This allowed me a tremendous amount of opportunity to collaborate with him, sometimes as a composer or an arranger or else a performer. And as I directed the Convent Prep Choir, which I did for a few years, and the Kyrie School of Music Children's Choir, and later the Sixth Form Cicero Singers, Alwyn was always my go-to person for advice and opinions. There were times when he used my groups in some of his productions. The Convent Prep Choir performed in his film Toto and the Town Visitors. When Louis Bertrand and I wrote the children's musical Maruka for the Kyrie School of Music Choir in 1994, Alwyn directed it. He wrote and directed a folk drama entitled Lavinia for the Sixth Form Cicero Singers, and that was staged in 2016 and 2017. I mean, here was this Caribbean theatrical celebrity who was willing to devote time and talent to assisting with the nurturing of the young artists of the day. I can say that from my front row seat in the auditorium, which was Alwyn's theatrical life in Dominica, I was strategically positioned to assess the true measure of the man. He was very generously blessed with artistic talent, and he in turn used it generously to uplift and polish the artistic landscape of Dominica and the Caribbean, always exhibiting good character and a high level of integrity. As the father of the Division of Culture, Alwyn is a colossus. In 1978, he was given the mandate to develop a division of culture for the country. He had this dream of organizing a resource unit of educators in the arts. This cadre of educators would function under the umbrella of the Division of Culture, serving the entire country in the area of arts education, working with teachers and community groups in honing artistic skills. So when I returned home in 1981, fresh from the Jamaica School of Music, now the Endemani College of Visual and Performing Arts, I fitted right into that vision. I became one tiny pebble in Alwyn's cultural pond. The next year, Raymond was added, and Mayma Joseph was seconded from the Ministry of Education for a while. But during his 9 years as Chief Cultural Officer, this collection of educators in the arts did not grow at the rate Alwyn expected, and he had to tweak his vision a bit. He depended heavily on volunteerism, and his few officers were called on to operate in a multidisciplinary capacity, serving on various artistic committees, mountain festivals, working on the preservation of Dominica's traditional culture, and all the time assisting teachers and schools and community groups in our capacity as educators in the arts. The field was wide open. Our mandate was broad and challenging, but super exciting. All of us who worked with Alwyn knew him to be the kind of head of department who would dream big. No mountain was too high, no river was too wide. Everything was possible. He was guided by his love for country and the Caribbean region, and under his watch, Dominica distinguished itself as a gem on the Caribbean landscape, particularly in the area of the preservation of the traditional arts. He bought into the vision of Edward Oliver LeBlanc and Mabel Sissy-Corderon and many other wonderful artists and visionaries who were committed to the idea of preserving and promoting our traditional arts. The Department of Local Government was and still is a crucial player in that effort. Under Alwyn's watch, committees and associations like the Comité Poétique Creole, the Writers Guild, the Artists Guild, the National Pan Association all sprung up. In 1987, Alwyn left Dominica to take up the position of UNESCO Cultural Advisor for the Caribbean region. We were sad that he had to leave Dominica physically, but we realized that from that vantage point, he was better able to shine his light to the furthest corners of the region. He continued to contribute to the richness of theatre and culture generally from that position. His efforts over those active years did not go unnoticed. He received many awards and accolades locally, regionally, and internationally, not least of which is the Cicero Award from the government of Dominica in 1985. And in 2011, the University of the West Indies conferred on him the ultimate prestigious title of Doctor of Letters. I consider Alwyn to be one of the architects of my life, one who inspired me, one who gave me opportunity to grow, one who nurtured me on my artistic journey. To me, he is a larger-than-life personality. I see him as a kind of national hero who does not need a bronze sculpture to be remembered. His very spirit is inextricably enshrined in the hearts of many of us who have walked with him along his path and who have taken the unspoken oath to share that spirit.
And you were listening there to Pearl Christian as she paid her respects and congratulations to Alwyn Bully. I'm going to read you Steve Hassan's piece right now, and following that, we will listen to Dr. Lennox Honeychurch. Dr. Steve Hassan writes to Dr. Alwyn Bully through his theater group, the People's Action Theater. Dr. Bully began to unearth the creative talents of many individuals in our communities. and he continues to promote the art form as viable and stable option for social and economic growth in Dominica and by extension the Caribbean. Alwyn has written and produced a number of plays. I still regard Strick and The Night Box as two of my most favorite plays from Alwyn. After I left the Dominica Grammar School, I had the option to join the only theater group on the island at the time, the People's Action Theater, under the astute leadership of Dr. Alwyn Bully. However, it was the Methodist minister, the Reverend Neville Brody, who introduced me to the theater and who gave me my first acting role as Pilate in an Easter play called Barabbas. After this experience, and with the encouragement of a few friends, I established the New Dimension Theater in 1983. Dr. Bully has also been a strong motivator to me. There were times when I sought his advice on critical aspects of a production. While he was in Jamaica, I would send copies of my scripts to him to critic before I began working on them with the cast. And honestly, I really appreciated his frank and candid comments, which I must admit have aided me in my development as a playwright. I worked with the Caribbean Theatre Network as a stage manager to produce the play Once on This Island, directed by Alwyn Bully. I have always been reassured by Alwyn's reliability, integrity, and commitment to whatever he sets out to do. I have had the distinct honor and pleasure to view and marvel at his wit, imagination, and creative brilliance in conceptualizing and actually directing and producing the play. As a writer and producer, he decides on the required dosage that he would give his audience in any given production. And I must admit that he did so with great skills. During my training in Jamaica in 1985, I had the pleasure to do my practical in theater arts at the Mona Secondary School. During my stint at Mona Secondary, I decided to direct the play, The Good Morning, Miss Millie, written by Dr. Alwyn Bully. Indeed, the play was highly appreciated by the audience and my assessors. Unfortunately, I did not return to Jamaica for my graduation ceremony in 1987 at the Jamaica School of Drama, but Dr. Bully was allowed to accept the award on my behalf for the student with the highest overall average. That gesture was and still remains a joy and pleasure to me. I say thanks, Alwyn, for your tremendous support, encouragement, and opportunities to work with you. Thank you. My riches do not lie in material wealth, but in having friends like you. May God richly bless you. Thank you, Alwyn. Thank you. And that's from Steve Hyacinth. Okay? Those were his words. And ladies and gentlemen, like I promised you, I'm going to pause now. I want us to pause to listen to our final voice tribute. And that is from Dr. Lennox Honeychurch. And then I will get to Mr. G and let's see what he has in store for us from his end right there. So listen now to Dr. Lennox Honeychurch.
As we recognize the achievements of Alwyn Bully and his contribution to Dominica and indeed the wider Caribbean, let us reflect on his life from boyhood, from childhood where he was born and brought up in the middle of Roseau, surrounded actually on the main carnival route and surrounded by a host of family, people who were highly influential to him, and very talented people as well, both in his mother's and father's side of the family. His mother, a potter, her sister, was one of the leading pianists in Dominica, Rosemary Coulslar-Teague. She eventually was on her marriage. And then in his father's family, his uncle John was a very talented artist, but of course in those days had to find a living in accounts and as accountant general and other leading positions in the government. So it was a society in which carnival was one of the kind of main highest parts of the social calendar. And Alwyn, through his connections, was very involved in all of the early carnival. And because of where he lived, he also experienced it from a very early age. He was a student of the Dominica Grammar School, and he participated in many of the plays that were done then and the cultural events that took place. But particularly in 1964, when the world was essentially celebrating the anniversary of the birth of William Shakespeare, the Dominica put on a play, The Merchant of Venice, in which Alwyn took the leading role of Antonio, and this was a major theatre production at the time. He was also a member of the Kyrie Artistic Group, which was led by Mabel Sissy Corderon, the famous folklorist of Dominica, and he participated fully in that group's performances, including his performance before Queen Elizabeth II during her visit to Dominica in February of 1966. And this performance is covered in film and it's readily available on the internet. He went to university at Cave Hill, the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, and there also, as soon as he arrived, he sunk himself into the cultural activities and led activities there as well. He was active in the carnival. In fact, he helped to promote the whole concept of carnival at Cave Hill, and of course in the drama productions and general cultural activities. In 1967, when Dominica got statehood, Alwyn Bully designed a number of stamps which celebrated the attainment of self-government associated statehood of Dominica in 1967. When he returned to Dominica after his graduation from Cave Hill campus, University of the West Indies, he returned to being a teacher at the Dominica Grammar School, and a very influential teacher as well. His students remember him extremely well because of the whole nature of his teaching ability and the way in which he imparted knowledge and the participation of students in everything that was going on. He took over a theatre group which had been active at the end of the 1960s called the Little Theatre Group, which was led by Amar Harris, who had then moved on, gone to Canada. And he turned this from that core group of the Little Theatre into the People's Action Theatre, which was more representative of the vitality of the 1970s that was unfolding. And he directed and wrote several plays. Among the earliest was Good Morning, Miss Millie. But then as the 1970s grew on, there was Speak Brother Speak, Streak, Nightbox, Ruler, which was based on the novel Ruler in High Runa, which was a reflection, a representation influenced by the political turbulence in the Caribbean from the 1950s, 60s going on. He also did a major production in Jesus Christ Superstar, taking that international musical and turning it onto the Dominica stage. He produced another big and spectacular play for the independence celebrations in 1978, Pio Pio, which was a play based on a sort of story of young people learning things as they moved on this adventure around the performance. And then in Carnival, besides the plays, he was also involved in Carnival. He had the costume designer and builder. He was well known for this, very popular indeed, with some spectacular costumes. Queen costumes as well as band costumes, costumes for the king and queen of the band. He had been involved in these earlier, but once he came back in the 1970s, he really reached his peak in that regard. He was also a band organizer. He helped the leaders of bands design bands and gave them ideas. He was also a leader of the Carnival Organizing Committee and the kind of reconstruction, rescheduling of Carnival in terms of the activities that were promoted, and innovative developments and ideas like painting the streets of Roseau along the Carnival route with colorful designs. Also, towards the end of the 1970s, in 1978, he designed the Dominica national flag, which is one of sort of his highest contributions to this country. And the national flag, of course, has become extremely popular. Its design has been adapted to many different things besides the flag itself. He was also the initiator of the cultural division, beginning with a humble cultural desk in the Ministry of Education. And then he moved on with the restoration and cleaning of the old mill at Cane Field and turned it into a cultural space, headquarters for the cultural division that developed on from the cultural desk, and what has become both a historic site and a center for cultural activities. All of that was initiated by him from the 1970s and gained development and additions way into the 1980s. He also advised on the renovation of the Arawak Cinema when the government bought it into the Arawak House of Culture. And that transformation is also part of his contribution. He was a leader for the Carifesta representation by Dominica at the Caribbean Festival of Arts from its initiating back in 1972 and all through organizing, once again, different cultural groups, putting them together as one piece for a Dominica presentation in the various territories where Carifesta was held over the years. Then he moved to UNESCO, to working for UNESCO in Kingston, Jamaica. And immediately he plunged himself into Jamaica theater and art scene. He directed a number of plays, including an annual pantomime style extravaganza to raise funds to give relief to one of the poorest parts of Kingston. He assisted a priest who was committed to assisting the terrible conditions that were experienced there. And Alwyn gave his time and effort to organize these fundraising annual events. The art scene as well, he was always in the center of art exhibitions and all in Jamaica. He himself found time to do painting, mainly reflecting the Dominica traditional carnival cultural scene. He had an entire set of paintings related to the sensei costume of Dominica. And then he returned to Dominica and continued to give inspiration to a new, younger group of artists and performers. And while doing that, he received an honorary doctorate from the University of the West Indies Open Campus, which he received in Antigua. And apart from this, many other aspects of Dominican life have been touched by him. All of the National Day events, for instance, that are celebrating the anniversary of independence, the promotion of Dominica's traditional costume as a national dress, everything related to cultural activities of this sort, performance, art, creativity, has had a touch and the hand of Alwyn Bully in it.
Well, I was at school tonight. Yeah, I was at school tonight. I've learned so many things I did not know about that Alwyn Bully. I thought I only knew Alwyn the teacher and Alwyn the principal and Alwyn the playwright, in Dominica. But tonight I have gone to school, and Mr. G, I'm expecting you now to give me my certificate because I have learned so many things about Alwyn. Mr. G.
But here's the thing, Pastor Rodney, I just want to do two things very, very quickly because you see, we have quite a number of people on Facebook, and I just wanted to give them a little shout out and acknowledge them tonight because they're all here doing just like we're doing, celebrating Alwyn Bully and congratulating him. And I'm being amazed at not knowing all of the things that we didn't know ourselves. Just want to shout out there, Tina Bell, Lirumen, Sandra Green, Jean James, Sir Lawrence, Paul Emmanuel. Let's see again, Henrietta James. You have Corinne Straker. There is Carlin Fontaine, Cecilia Bedminster, Veronica Pascal, Dee Dee Easter, Ninox Pear, Hermin James, Wendy Peters, Peter Carbon, Judith Cochran, Coro Raffles, Senior. These people are all there following just like we do and in awe, just like we are, and congratulating Dr. Alwyn Bully here tonight. So there is no shortage of congratulations pouring in for Alwyn here tonight. And Pastor Rodney, one more thing I just wanted to do quickly. I think maybe he wouldn't forgive me if I didn't do this because I know you want to counteract and you still have to take a few calls from our listeners out there. Professor Roy Auger, he is someone that was very close to Alwyn, and here is what is tribute to Alwyn. I'll just try to read it quickly. There is no one more deserving in the CARICOM region for the title of national hero than Alwyn Bully. This might appear a very large claim when one considers those who have preceded him, from Garvey to Mali to the political founders Bustamante and Manley, and others that we did not name, because this is coming from me. The point is, I do not have to consider the politicians and artists who are already elevated to the status of heroes because the decision to limit them by geography has already been made. Here is my claim to support a proposal to name Alwyn Bully a national hero of Dominica. Alwyn Bully and I have worked closely with each other over 9 volumes of UNESCO History of the Caribbean in conditions where the elements justify the words national and hero. These words signify integrity. Only those who have had to fight to be sure that when they look at their face in the mirror in the morning, they are not ashamed of the ways they have rejected the attempt of UNESCO and the publishers to distort our national Caribbean history. When the project for a history of the Caribbean was proposed, it was impossible to overlook that the people who inhabited the land from north to south, from Colombia to Venezuela, from those countries we are conveniently grouped as Middle America, Costa Rica, Panama, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Mexico, and have Spanish as their native language, and those in the Gulf of Mexico who speak English. The most recent numbers are the English, French, and Dutch, who in their various ways add to the variety of languages and cultures. But UNESCO is an international organization which must be funded at intervals, and at these discussions, it was inevitable that the cost of the project would be discussed and reduced. So it was in the circumstances of reduction of funds for the project that it was decided that the first edition of the history be in English. Fortune also aided in the circumstances of the English-speaking Caribbean, in that we had on the staff of UNESCO in Paris, the Caribbean, and New York, a highly competent collection of Jamaicans, Barbadians, St. Lucians for Alwyn and me to work with. Together, they had lobbied the Scandinavian members of UNESCO who were influential in this matter to support the proposal that membership of the Assembly should not continue to be styled Latin America and the Caribbean. This meant that the Caribbean was admitted to membership as a group on its own style, Caribbean. Consequently, the Caribbean office was established in Kingston. Thus it was that Alwyn and me administered the first and only edition of UNESCO's History of the Caribbean in English. That explains how it was that I came to work so closely with Alwyn at the UNESCO Kingston headquarters, because we had to bring together aspects of the Spanish and French and Dutch, or to be specific, the Dominican Republic, the Dutch Leeward Islands, and those such as Curacao and Aruba. What our work involved was to try to make some weak apologies for the UNESCO decisions not to provide funds for the Caribbean history of the cultures other than that of English. The academics had decided on recommending to UNESCO 9 volumes as a minimum that would bear the weight of the title UNESCO History of the Caribbean. And so that is how I came to know Alwyn as UNESCO Advisor of the Culture in the Caribbean, with responsibility for getting the history of the Caribbean completed. But Alwyn is also an artist, and he gave a considerable amount of his skill as a producer, director to Reverend Father Richard Olong. Working with UNESCO was mitigated by the existence of the Atlantic Ocean, email and modern technology notwithstanding. UNESCO was on the other side of the Atlantic, but Father Olong was streets away, just streets away, to Alwyn Bowley to face without screens of distance, and how particular scenes had to be presented for the advantage of the evangelical work of Father Olong. In the interest of the gospel, Father Olong faced a text whose purpose was to secure individuals, to secure eternal life. So by association with Alwyn, through the administration of the 9 volumes of History of the Caribbean, and his work with Father Olong, gave me as good as an opportunity as any to judge the integrity of Alwyn Bowley in the face of attempts to make changes in the text, whether of the Holy Gospel or the secular history. I was never on stage, nor in the green room with Alwyn Bowley and Father Olong together, but as an educated Catholic, I knew the difference between the probable response to a proposal already presented and criticized as secular and a similar one without a supporting text of human origin. Alwyn was not without help from the secular producers and knew its limits, but it is by the context of his conduct that I judge him. I can assure you, I am without hesitation willing to say that Alwyn deserves the title of National Hero of Dominica. And this is from Professor Roy Oji of UWI Mona. Thanks, Pastor Rodney.
Thanks, Mr. G, for reading that to us as well. It's 8 minutes now, moving up to 9 o'clock in the evening. Gentle people, I've just now opened the lines to all of you, those of you who wish to speak your own thoughts about Alwyn. Would appreciate you doing that right now. But Anita is sitting with me as well, and Anita, honestly, I've heard so much about Alwyn tonight. I really do feel like I have just gone to school. Just give me a sec. I'm going to come to you for your comments. I did ask to open the line, and now I have the line. Will you please turn down the volume on the radio, the TV, whatever you're listening to? Are you there now? Good evening.
I'm there.
Yes.
A very important program going on there. And I myself would like to congratulate Dr. Bowley, and along with his wife, who supported him all those years. I remember Dr. Bowley as a boy in the Roseau, where he was born in the Roseau Central, and then at the grammar school. I knew him very well at the grammar school, and then I was closer to his brother, Colin. Colin myself, we formed together. And then I met Dr. Bowley at Cave Hill. We were students at Cave Hill. And I remember he, as Dr. Ron said, he organized the carnival in Cave Hill. And he was always that Dominican, you know. And then he came back. I remember when he came back and he went to the grammar school, and he teaching at the grammar school, and he became the principal of the grammar school. And I remember when he was principal of the grammar school, he invited me to give the featured address on the anniversary of the grammar school, 100 years anniversary of the grammar school. And we got on very well. And then I remember his contribution in culture, the contribution in carnival. Then I remember when the Old Mill Cultural Center was being revamped, is that he was one of the key players there with a project from the United States, US aid, when we did that project.
Yeah.
So he had contributed tremendously towards culture in Dominica, the development of Dominica, organizing carnival. And I think I heard my good friend Dr. Samra say, I hear the ending when he said, the heights of great men rich and kept attained by sudden flight. But they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. That's Dr. Bully.
Thank you very much.
I wish him very well, and the future that's left with him, that he will continue to
I've just lost
Somebody mentioned earlier that they think the fitting thing would be to name the Arrow House of Culture after him. I think I would endorse this, but I would argue that it should be the Fifi.
You're going in and out on your telephone. I'm sorry, I got to take you out on this. Everyone else, could you be precise, concise, be brief, and share your congratulations to Dr. Alwyn Bully? You are on the telephone. Kudos to our heroes, and we're honoring Dr. Bully tonight. Hello, you really very muffled. Would you just hang up? Would you just hang up and call back, okay? On the telephone, good evening. Kudos to our heroes. We're honoring Dr. Bully.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. I just want to say what a great Dominican. I am happy to know this man. I want to tell him thank you to service render to people and country. I hope he gets a diplomatic passport. And I agree with him, our caller who said they need our House of Culture after him. It is nice to know that we have so many great Dominicans. But Stuart Paris, I would like you all to recognize him as well, and Suki Winston.
Thank you very much,
you
sir.
and God bless.
Have a good night. On the telephone, good evening. Kudos to our heroes. We're honoring Dr. Alwyn Bully.
Good evening. I noticed that Dr. Alwyn Bully is the 7th hero. And looking at the number 7 is one of completeness, perfection, and that both physical and spiritual. My name is Gloria, Sceptra Justice, and I'm very happy, glad, ecstatic that Dr. Alwyn Bully is being recognized. To be no amount of recognition is too much for him, based on his contribution to the arts and culture locally and regionally. And as a member of the People's Action Theatre and my continued association with Alwyn, I learned quite a lot, and that knowledge has really helped to shape who I am today. Alwyn has directed both short films produced by La Codeza de la Dominique, and La Codeza de la Dominique wishes to salute you, Dr. Alwyn Bully. All who have interacted with you have been positively impacted. For the many connections I have made through you, I want to thank you. I pray continued blessings on you, Dominica, the region, love and cherish you, Alwyn. Alwyn, you have always been, and you always be our hero. Number 7, the number of completeness, perfection, both physical and spiritual.
Thank you very much, Maria. On the telephone, sorry about that. Let's try this one on the telephone. Good evening. This is Kudos for Heroes. We honoring Dr. Alwyn Bully.
Good evening. A very, very good program. And I do not know Dr. Bully personally, but I've heard of him and through my Uncle Sobers, which I'm surprised I haven't heard his voice on there tonight. But two things stuck with me when listening to this program tonight was what you read from Mr. Wicks, and the most profound one was from his daughter.
Yeah.
When she said she can hear it in her head, his voice in her head. And this week I had a conversation with my mom when she asked me what my son wanted to do at school. And he has his last year, this is his last year of high school, and he wants to do animation and editing. And she was a bit perturbed about that. And hearing his daughter say she left medicine to go into dancing gave me all the more confidence I need to push him into what he wants to do. Good program. Congratulations to you, Dr. Bully. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening yourself. Back on the telephone, we are honoring Dr. Alwyn Bully. Good night.
Good evening. Really awesome program. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's more. You're welcome.
It was an honor and a privilege to have been invited at the ceremony where Dr. Bully and Mr. Steve Hayes.
Have you had enough to eat?
Poem.
You had enough to eat?
Discussed. He made a very, very important point.
Sorry. Yeah. Have you had enough to eat? Or you
artificial water plant should be erected at Mount Daniel, or Mount Bruce, sorry, at Mount Bruce, so that when the tourists come in, the first thing that they see as they approach Dominica is that waterfalls tumbling all up at Mount Bruce. And I wish the powers that be would really consider that positively.
We will take that up on another program. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Anita, Alwyn Bully. Alwyn Bully. That's all we've been talking about since 6 o'clock this evening.
Yeah.
And you are the wife of that gentleman.
Yes.
Yeah. All of some of the things that you shared, when I go home tonight, I'm sure my wife is going to tell me, you see what I tell you. Here's a husband giving so much time to the development of people and their skills and their profession. And I guess you need him every now and then, I'm sure.
Yes, but I guess understanding him, and because I was also helping him, it made it easier on us because I was stage manager on a lot of the plays. We were at rehearsals together, and I always put in place a structure at home to take care of the kids. And the time we gave to the kids, we gave to the kids. Okay, but it gave us time to go to rehearsals and to do what we had to do and get the productions going and whatnot. And we always involved the kids in stuff. They went to rehearsals. They would sit through rehearsals. They would go to carnival shows, and we would go to movies together. And they are both very creative. Well, all three of them were creative, and the two that are still alive, Brent and Shadi, are very creative people. Brent does animation and graphic art. And Shadi, who is a trained doctor, she did her internship and everything. And the day she completed her internship, she went to dance. But she was a principal dancer in a company. And their father spent a lot of time with them. And they both draw just as well as Alwyn. They are multi-talented, okay? Although they say, boy, Daddy, I can't do that like you, but their talent is there. And he encouraged that, and he encouraged them to express themselves and to strive for perfection. And they both always try to strive for perfection.
That's a lesson that a lot of people need to learn, that parents' skills and the profession and what they do is interwoven with the life of the children. These children come to appreciate certain things, and they keep that legacy going. It's an overplayed word, but they keep that legacy going. It's important for that, and I love the way you put that together. I'm going to probably write it somewhere, somehow, so I can pass it on to people, because sometimes we get the feel that when you are so engaged in your profession, your family life suffers. And while we're honoring Alwyn, I want to be able to highlight that as one of the excellent areas of family life and raising your children, and they're both doing well. I was so heartened when I heard your daughter speak this evening. It's 9:05, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a few more calls, and when I don't see the lights coming, then we'll begin to wind down this evening. But I think we've had a fantastic evening.
That's right.
Yes.
Do you mind if I just acknowledge, because, you know, when we started earlier, we didn't have everybody that's here now with us, but certainly we see a new face there on the screen with us, and that is a very important face. The gentleman called Irby. So, Irby, I don't know, you want to say something nice about your partner?
Yeah, I want to say a few words about my friend.
Yes, of course.
I mean, our parents were very close, so we grew up together. We went to convent prep together, we went to grammar school together, we went to academy together. We did everything together. Things I don't want to talk about now, but we did everything together. We were great friends. And Alwyn, my children and his children grew up together. And my children remember Uncle Alwyn, the great adventurer. As adults today, they still talk about Uncle Alwyn, the great adventurer. Every summer, Alwyn will come and say, let's go there, let's go there, let's go to the beach, let's go to the river. He heard about some place in the bush somewhere, let us go and check it out. The children loved Uncle Alwyn. They still love him today. So that's a part of Alwyn that is still alive. All know my partner wants to go places. Can hardly walk, but he wants to go. Alwyn is a great adventurer. The other thing about Alwyn is a giver. He gives. He gives everything he has. He doesn't bother about himself. He wants other people to do well. And that is something that is fantastic about Alwyn. And so he's a fantastic friend, he's a wonderful person, and I love him dearly. And I just want him to know that. I saw his art grow as he grew up, and all the accolades he's got, all the great things he's achieved. He still figured that is not enough. He wants to do more. He wants to do more. You understand? That's how he is. That's how his brain operates. He dreams, and he wants to put his dreams into action. And thank God he has a wonderful wife who has to be constantly pulling him down to earth. I say, hey, partner, take it easy. You understand? So, Alwyn is a wonderful, wonderful person. And I just wanted to say that. Thanks very much.
Yes, and Irby, I knew that you wanted to say that, so I really wanted you to say it, you know, because I felt it was important for you to say that. I mean, you were sitting in Alwyn's chair while you were saying it, so that's how important it was. So, Pastor Rodney, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. G. Let me take a call, and then I'm going to go to Anita before we get down to doing the actual honoring, Mr. G. On the telephone, good evening. We're honoring Alwyn Bully. Good night.
Good evening, Pastor.
Yes, good night.
Good evening to Anita and Alwyn. My mom was the washer of all the costumes. They were sticky, and we were the little ones going to wash. And my children's father, he was one of the actor in Alwyn Bully drama. His name was Alban Aki from Portsmouth. So I know Alwyn very good, and my mother used to work for the mother to watch for the mother, and Anita, and for Anita's mother too. You were neighbors too. So I want to say all the best to Alwyn, and Anita all the best. That is CPA's daughter, Pamela. God bless you all. Continue to go along your way. May God bless all you and
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Anita, you have heard all of that. You wanted to share a thought.
Yeah, I think before we leave tonight, Alwyn still has dreams. And Alwyn is never afraid of taking chances, okay? He dreams and he wants to see his dreams come to fruition. And he dreams not like we do. He dreams out of the box, okay? And he was a member of the committee set up for the renovation of the Botanical Gardens. And Alwyn sat down and Alwyn did detailed drawings, let me tell you, of what the Botanical Gardens should look like, including his major dream for the country, to use water that is being sent to the sea and create a waterfall from Mont Bruce coming down into a lit pond
Wow.
in the botanical gardens. Okay? And you should see, next to the pond, he has a restaurant, 5-star restaurant. Then he has a Kalinago community where they have the crafts can be sold, and a restaurant offering Kalinago delicacies, you know, like it used to be before, and those kind of things. And I wish the powers that be could look into that,
Yeah.
because this is the only real open space we have in Roseville.
Yes.
It needs to be looked at. We work with friendly governments that do beautiful work in that kind of thing, design and creation of things. Like the Chinese are able to build bridges anywhere and create waterfalls out of nothing.
Right.
And I think we need to start looking at that and at least help him with that last dream of his that would really make it for him.
Interesting. I really hope that we can probably get this documented and presented, and let's
And
have
we
an
have all the drawings, detailed drawings.
let's defend that somewhere so we can get it done. Just a couple of days ago, I was sharing some thoughts with my children on these kinds of architectural things that can bring the real nature of the country to life. On the telephone, good evening. We are honoring Alwyn Bully.
Good evening, Pastor. My name is Don Fon. I didn't go to the grammar school. I went to the SMA, but I know Alwyn, well, doctor. Excuse my rudeness. Dr. Bully. I know Anita well. I think I went to their house a couple of times while I was in Jamaica at Mona. What a lovely family. But interestingly, Anita, Mrs. Bully, sorry, okay, put the icing on the cake. We have to identify some monument somewhere in Dominica where we can name after a living legend. I don't want him to die before we do it. So either we have the Alwyn Bully Arak House of Culture or the Alwyn Bully Old Mill Cultural Center, or as she said, let us do the Botanical Garden in the name of Alwyn Bully. We have to start to create those kinds of attributes to a living legend. Let us not wait for him to die. And I don't want Alwyn to die now. So finally, I want to say congratulations to a well put together family, generous family, a kind family, a resourceful family. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night. Good night to you. Mr. G, I want to go to you as we prepare to do our presentations this evening first.
Well, yes, Pastor Rodney. I think, I mean, you know, when you're having fun like this, doing something that is so worth doing, that is so valuable, is so historical. I mean, this man has a legacy well beyond most. And I think we have to appreciate it. And as Dai says, give him his flowers when he's alive. And tonight we're happy to do that. And I know that Anita will accept the tokens that we have on behalf of Alwyn. I'm not sure, Pastor Rodney, whether Alwyn would feel up to just saying a couple of words. I know he has some difficulty with the voice, but if he can, then Anita, I'm sure we'll be happy to speak for him. But really and truly, it was a pleasure for us to do this. I was totally delighted to do this. I mean, it was something that was a long time coming. And I will tell you this, Alwyn and Anita, if there's anything I can do, I certainly will try to pursue the ideas that just came out here tonight. You have two ideas. One is the Arawak, and then the other one, which I think is a bigger idea, is the transformation of the botanical gardens in the way that Alwyn envisaged it with the waterfall. And then, of course, somebody mentioned some kind of monument to Alwyn at Mount Bruce, overlooking whatever work is done in the transformation of botanical gardens. I think this is something that could have long-lasting impact on Dominica's landscape, and I think it's something that should be done. And Pastor Rod, you know me, I will always try my best. I'll call Anita and then we try to work to see how we can get that done. So Pastor Rodney, I just want to say really thank you ever so much for everyone really who's been tuning in tonight on Facebook, on all the social networks, in all those various countries. My WhatsApp has been burning. I mean, people are WhatsApping me from all over the globe, in every country you can think of. They just love Alwyn Bully. They remember Dominicans are spread all over the world and friends of Dominica everywhere. So tonight was really a delight for us all in the committee. And I really want to say on behalf of all the members of our committee, we really were happy to do this for Alwyn Bully tonight. So thank you for the opportunity to just say those couple of words before you make your presentation to Anita, Pastor Rodney.
We will do that. We'll do that now. Anita, we want you to know as a committee that we don't take this thing lightly. And we have vowed to do what people talk about. We want to do it. We want to make sure that in a very literal sense, people get their flowers while they're alive, while they can smell it, while they can look at it and be appreciative of that, right? And we believe that Alwyn Bully deserves much more than we are able to provide for him because of the work that he's done. And like Mr. G said, I know he's a man of his word in that regard, and we will support it. We will do our best to push that dream, because we believe that something like that is good for all the people. And it will enhance us, it will open us up, it will give us a place of relaxation, yes, but some economic benefit for somebody as well. It will do good for us. And so on behalf of the Heroes Committee, we want first to present you with one of the plaques that we prepare for people like this. And I want to do that with this song of our local calypsonian in the backdrop, Flowers from Dice. And now that we have presented you, and it will be for plaque, we want to deliver flowers. And always we want to deliver flowers to you. We'll give that to your wife, and we are hoping that you will appreciate that as well.
Very much appreciated.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we actually gave flowers. And we believe in, like I said, we believe in what we do. And we trust that, like you've noticed, we haven't had time to take all the calls. I'm sure all the messages are coming in. Somebody said something to me tonight that is interesting. They said they would jump the wall to go to see Alwyn's plays. And that's a young lady.
There's something I want to clarify.
So, sure, please do that.
There is something that I want to clarify. Alwyn is not thinking of the renovation of the gardens or the waterfall in terms of anything to do with him. Okay? The importance, he says, can you imagine you're coming in on a ship in the bayfront and you look out to Roseau and this waterfall is coming down. This is a land of water. Jamaica says the land of wood and water. I told them they haven't been to Dominica yet. They don't know what wood and water is. Dominica is the only island where we don't have a waterfall at our airport. Antigua has no water, has a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that attraction alone, okay, would be so important for the tourist product that we offer.
I totally agree.
And we have to think outside the box. We have to think big. And that is something that can attract people to Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to look at it in that vein.
Yes. I totally agree with that. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that, and I support that move altogether.
Now, Alwyn wants to thank you all. So I am going to read it, and then
Thank
you will say his little thank you as well. It is with great pleasure and absolute humility that I accept this significant recognition being bestowed on me tonight by Q95. I have never considered myself a hero, as I have accomplished what I did because of my love for theater, culture, and the Caribbean. However, you must know that the achievements that I have gained throughout my career were just me doing my work as Chief Cultural Officer, as UNESCO Advisor to Culture in the Caribbean, and doing what I love best, which is good theater. The achievements in theater, which were so well recorded in the early days, have left an indelible mark of confidence and excellence on the minds of audiences in almost all parts of the world in those days. You must remember that at that time, Caribbean culture was in a state of flux, and many new, exciting, and surprising theories and thinking were being introduced by practitioners from all over the world. In the Caribbean, the Federation of 10 of the more advanced island states had begun to show what could be the benefits of such a path to strengthen economies and improve living standards, and there was a sense of hope and magic in the air. Alas, this feeling only survived for 4 short years when Jamaica and Trinidad could not accept the decisions of the ex-imperial powers who had enslaved them. One by one, they turned their backs on the Union and became independent countries. Other movements, such as the Rastafarian religion, saw this as a form of liberation from their imperialist masters. Several well-known artists and intellectuals began gaining popularity in the region. The poetry and music of Bob Marley reached the most remote countries of the world. The Woodstock Festival in North America did the same. The explosion of Black consciousness and the human rights movement also brought attention to the beauty and importance of African cultures, as well as the importance of the indigenous peoples. That was the birth of the Caribbean National Movement. It also gave birth to the leaders in some countries who felt that they owned these islands and became hindrances to their development. And worse yet, when their own people dragged them down from their gilded thrones face to face, the Federation came to an end. The artists of the period did not miss the opportunity of bringing awareness of dictatorships and the wars of the commandeering ships of state. Citizens made clear their differences. Populations were divided, and to make matters worse, a series of hurricanes and storms laid bare the wretched earth. This provided perfect food for thought and analysis of who we are as a people and how best to govern ourselves. It was by then the golden age of Caribbean creative arts. This gave birth to several genres of art and culture. CASOD, the Creative Arts Society of Dominica, was established. I had the honor of being appointed chair of CASOD, which was responsible for the renovation of the Old Mill Cultural Center. At that time, I had just completed my bachelor's degree at Cave Hill and was employed at the Dominica Grammar School in the English department and later as acting principal of DGS. But I realized to make any progress in developing a vibrant program for culture in Dominica, my full attention would have to be given to it. At a meeting with the then Minister for Education, H.L. Christian, I told him of my desire to resign from government service to pursue my dream. He had other plans for me. The Cultural Division was then established with me as the first Chief Cultural Officer. I was just then joined by Pearl and later by Raymond, and the rest is history. When I left Dominica to join UNESCO in Jamaica as advisor for culture in the Caribbean in '87, I was able to immerse myself not only in the work of UNESCO, but also in the arts and culture scene there. I recognized the great potential that lay dormant within the arts, and this led to the commencement of a journey that would prove beneficial to a large section of the societies. Today, thousands of cultural workers make their living from their talent and expertise in their fields of competence. The world was then forced to sit and take notice. I wish to thank the following persons for assisting me as I went along my cultural journey. My mother and father, who both supported my interest in theater and all the things cultural, as well as my cousin, Mabel Sissy Cordero, and my Aunt Rosemary Cools Latig, who did the same. I cannot leave out the governments of the Caribbean and my friends at the CARICOM Secretariat, who worked so well with me, taking my advice as we move forward together, especially through CARIFESTA. To the hundreds of other cultural workers in Barbados, Jamaica, and the rest of the Caribbean, who embraced me and shared with me the ropes of cultural administration, I will be forever grateful. Those who support my work and those from all walks of life who stop me in the streets or anywhere else to advise me on cultural projects and other matters to be pursued, I thank you. To the Association of Caribbean Artists, the Jamaica Association of Dramatic Artists, the Company Limited of Jamaica, the Jamaica Musical Company, and Father Holong and friends, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to live my dreams and do what I love best. So here we are today, a long way from 1972, but we have only just begun. I have done my part. It is now left to the younger generation to continue. I say to them, be not afraid. If your heart is in place of this great opus, which is before you, you will perform miracles. May God be with you, as I am sure he was with me. Marchez bien, pour Dieu toujours là et puis nous.
Wow, thanks, Alwyn.
Yeah, Alwyn wants to say a last word.
Sure.
Yes, Oliver.
That's all. I'll make it short and sweet. I'd like to express my heartfelt sentiments to the members of the committee who are present today, as well as those who are unable to be here with this afternoon. Say thank you is always a very difficult thing, because most people like to treat it as it's just a few words. And afternoon's activities. Beyond that, thank you means giving them a part of your heart, part of the lives that we live. Come together and continue on for the human race. And we stand at the edge of something into the crack in the universe, or cracks that lead to isolated patches of land all over the face of the earth. It could be the end of a millennium, or even of a race of beings. We know not what tomorrow brings. But it could be exciting at the same time, full of sorrow and loss. Regardless of what it is, hope shines on forever. And Creator knows what he's doing. We gotta be sure that we place ourselves in our hands. Jesus knows is to do the right thing. Not the thing that necessarily we would want to do. But to let God do it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Alwyn,
you.
what I want to say, here's what I want to say to you, Alwyn, right? This award tonight is really coming from the people of Dominica, because see what happens is that what we do, we take all these recommendations from people. And I have to tell you that the recommendation of Alwyn Bully was the most popular recommendation that we've had so far. Extremely this really award is coming from the hearts and minds of the people of Dominica. And not only those of them who are in Dominica, many of them who are abroad, and the friends of Dominica who are abroad who have been told about Alwyn Bully by Dominicans who have migrated. So I just want to say to you, Alwyn, really, we should be thanking you for what you have done for us, because the legacy that you've left behind is something that will augur very well for future generations to come. And I hope they listen to your daughter, I hope they listen to Anita, I hope they listen to you, and to see how they could emulate what you've done. And really, I think what has happened here tonight is profound. I will never forget it the rest of my life. So thanks you a lot, Alwyn, and over to you, Pastor Rodney.
Thank you very much. You've really just said exactly what I wanted to share with Alwyn, that it's our thanks to you for the work that you've done, the work that you have allowed God to do through you, the way that you have impacted, like I said, so many lives. And for me tonight, I have learned so many other things that you've done, so many places that you've reached, so many lives that you've touched, so many people that you have impacted, so many situations that you have changed through the work that you have allowed yourself to do because of the giftedness that I believe that has been upon your life. We want to say thanks. And thanks to you, Anita, and your family for loaning us Alwyn for all those years and having him touch our lives. We look forward to being there with you, for you, as you keep journeying. Thanks a whole lot on behalf of all of the people. And for all of you people who were on the call tonight, and all of you who wanted to call, who couldn't call, some of you said you were just spellbound, you couldn't call. We appreciate you so much, and we look forward to your continued involvement with what we're doing, as we will look forward to honoring hero number 8 in the next 2 months or 3 months, I think it is, Mr. G. We look forward to your participation with us. All of you who were here with us this evening, we're so happy to have you. Thanks, Anita, for being here for this long haul this evening. We really appreciate your company here with us. Yes, Mr. G.
I just want to say good night to all the folks who are with us on Facebook. They've stayed with us throughout the night. Numbers have been going all the time. We didn't get to acknowledge everyone by name, but I just want to let you know that we appreciate you, the fact that you stay with us on this great occasion, honoring a great man. I want to thank all the persons on the panel with us here tonight. Pastor Rodney, we have some very illustrious people on the panel. Many of them are heroes in their own rights in what they do every day in their daily lives. I want to thank them all. Thank all the people who call and who did not get an opportunity to call, but just listen from there and from far. So thank you, everyone, and good night to you, Alwyn. Good night, Anita. Good night to the entire family. Good night, everyone.
Good night, all, for being with us. God bless all of you.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, Alwyn.
Thank you.
Good night, Alwyn and Anita.
Yes, and Colin and
great, very good.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
God bless you. Good night.
So let me just we'll end now then.
And if you try to fix more